Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
I feel like news breaks every time we just get off the air. It's really annoying. Congratulations to Devonta Smith for getting the contract extension. That also means the Eagles are just going offense, offense, offense. Do you have a problem with that? Worst case scenario for the Flyers played out yesterday. The Phillies, John Kincade put it best in a text message that we'll talk about later on the show. There was so much to get into. It's Kincade Salciunas right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
This is Kincade and Salciunas.
I have to worry about a draft pick from 3 years from now when this team is currently in a mode where they could be competitors.
Haason Reddick, the return is fairly even. I would have preferred to have this year.
Kincade and Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And a good Tuesday morning, Philadelphia. I'm Andrew Salciunas alongside my man John Kincade. Johnny, good morning.
Is it a good morning? We're all fired up.
It's a morning filled with anticipation for the Flyers, but didn't play out well at all. It was actually the worst case scenario yesterday, which we'll get into. But it's funny, we're about to do the show, and you hear that open. And it's the open of us complaining about Haason Reddick being traded and me complaining about Haason Reddick being traded for a draft pick 3 years from now. I stand by it. It would be nice to have some defensive talent on this team.
Yeah, you mean that it's going to be a very, very different approach from this point forward for the Philadelphia Eagles?
Absolutely. So, again, let me make this clear. Congratulations to Devonta Smith.
We're both excited for this. Yeah,
thrilled because last year you had arguably the best wide receiver duo in the NFL. It fell apart. The whole team fell apart. I stand by it. They are still one of, if not the best wide receiver duos in the NFL. You can make the case that it's between them, San Francisco, if Ayuk is even still on that team, and then the Miami Dolphins with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Other than that, a lot of teams are looking up. So I'm thrilled, and offense is the way to go. I totally understand that. But in that open, you hear about the championship window. You need to have some defensive talent for you to win a Super Bowl. And not having Haason Reddick, even though I understand that he wanted more money, it once again reminds me, moving on from him, I can't believe I'm starting the show off with this. It pisses me off because your offense is so good, and I don't know about your defense still.
Here's the strange is that I hear the same story, and I hear something different. And one of the things I look at it is every time Landon Dickerson, and then you're locking down Jordan Mailata, and then you're not locking down Devonta Smith. To me, I'm taking my Window Nation window of opportunity, and I'm opening it further. I think the Eagles' championship window got bigger yesterday.
I love that.
Because to me, the more you lock down at affordable numbers before you have to pay people,
right,
projecting that cap out, to me, the Eagles' championship window got bigger.
Okay.
And so that's the way I look at it first.
I'm a millennial, damn it. I want to win now.
I got you. But what I'm also I do agree with you, but it makes me think less about the extension that wasn't given to Haason Reddick when I see what they've done with their money. And I'm not sure that what they've done with their money isn't much, not only better, but a much better long-term play for this organization.
And it probably is.
And I want the long-term play.
Right. It's logical, John. Right?
Yes.
And I'm,
yes.
I want my cake and eat it too. Right. Like I
that
want
donut
things,
yesterday
right?
morning. You wolfed that baby.
I want things right now. And if Haason Reddick's still on this team, look, Devonta Smith was still on this team. Either way, extension or not, he was still on this team next year. But with Haason Reddick in the news yesterday, I go, all right, let's go. Let's gear up for another Super Bowl potential run this year. And without Haason Reddick, I still think your defense takes a hit. Now, that doesn't mean I think Bryce Huff stinks. I got to see how this guy plays out. I'm not a big Josh Sweat fan, so let's see how does he play in a year with Vic Fangio and maybe with more rotational pieces, because I do think he was gassed the second half of the season. But bottom line is, Howie Rose is not hiding from what his plan is. It is offense, 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 right? You mentioned the extension to Landon Dickerson. You mentioned the extension to Jordan Mailata. All smart, by the way. Build your offensive line. The Eagles are known for building the trenches, even though I don't know about the other trench. I know Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis.
Well, they've invested in it. No. They've invested in it. Whether they made good decisions is yet to be seen.
Right. So, and we'll see how they continue to invest on the defensive side of the ball, because I imagine that means defense in the draft. But let's start off with this. Devonta Smith gets his extension. I don't think anybody's complaining about that. I think everybody's thrilled that there's the extension of Devonta Smith. They signed Saquon Barkley. They signed C.J. Uzoma to add to the tight end room, right? It's been offense. On the defensive side of the ball, you did get Conor Johnson, who I think we're all excited about.
Very excited.
Bryce Huff, I think the unknown is the biggest issue for a lot of people with Huff.
All right.
Because people don't know, like, what is he going to be Haason Reddick? They signed him with the similar contract. You overpay for him now, hoping that it's going to be a team-friendly deal down the road. But you have to hope that he becomes Haason Reddick, which, by the way, was 27 sacks over the last 2 years.
I would ask you to look to the Midwest.
Okay.
And I don't know about you, but I was not very good with geography. Connor's really good with geography. I didn't. But I'm looking Midwest, so I'm asking you to look out, like, that way.
Okay.
And I think that's Midwest. Or I may have just gone into the Atlantic Ocean. The Kansas City Chiefs, when they had to pay Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
Which is what the Eagles had to do with Jalen Hurts. They then sort of doubled down on offense and sort of said, we're going really, really young on defense.
Until they didn't pay Tyreek Hill.
Right. We're going really, really young on defense. Well, they couldn't.
Right.
Because of the what they had to pay Mahomes.
And Travis Kelce.
And everything. But that really, really young defense has won 2 Super Bowls in a row.
Right. Now,
they went really young in the secondary. They took their lumps.
But they hit.
Oh, no, I got you.
They hit, and that's the biggest thing with the Eagles. We're still trying to figure out, like, who's that young corner that Howie Roseman has drafted that has played into something.
And if I'm getting 3 of the top 53 players in this draft, and right now, by the way, I am most certainly hoping that I am. Right. I'm hoping that they don't do we'll use 2 of those, we'll use 2 picks, combine them, and just get 2 guys. I want 3 guys, and right now, I think I want at least 3 of the top 4 picks I want to be defense.
It's really amazing because I remember before this show started, Kincade and Salciunas, we did 2 recorded shows.
Yes.
And we were talking about the philosophy going into this offseason, what we wanted them to do. And I wanted, like, that Chiefs patient approach defensively. But because I've seen the moves that Howie's made offensively with Saquon Barkley, Devonta Smith getting the extension, knowing that he's with A.J. Brown for a couple more years, hopefully for more years to come, we'll see if they can also pay A.J. Brown a second time. Like, we'll find that out, right? There is a shelf life on these offensive players. And if I'm going with the defense, youth movement, which I like the idea of, if it takes 2 or 3 years for the youth movement defensively to turn into legit players, well, Saquon Barkley's only on a 3-year deal.
Yes.
Right? Like, A.J. Brown, his contract will be up. Dallas Goedert will probably maybe be gone.
No, I think Dallas will be gone.
Right? Like, there is a window right now, and you said you opened the window more, but then you're going to have to continue to add pieces to the big players, the core, that might not be here in 2 or 3 years.
I think you can find a tight end. And so I'm not that's not disrespecting Dallas Goedert, but I think you can find a tight end,
which the Eagles have done.
The idea of finding a running back, that seems like the simplest. So what they've done is the easiest places to go find somebody, plug and play and win. They've said, we're not worried about the long-term view with those.
Right.
That wasn't their priority.
But you could make the case, and I love the Saquon Barkley signing.
Okay.
So I hope nobody misunderstands what I'm saying. I love the Saquon Barkley signing. But I could have made the case to have not gotten Saquon Barkley now and use that money and allocate it to starters defensively.
And I would say to you, what continues to haunt me on the Haason Reddick thing, and as Temple guys, we both wanted Haason Reddick back. You wanted him back more than I did.
Correct.
I wanted him back.
I'm still disappointed.
But to me, I am still questioning how a guy in his years 26 through 30, the prime of a defensive player's career, will play on his 4th team in 5 seasons.
Yeah, it is amazing. It really is. Now,
and I would challenge you to say, if you think Haason Reddick is such an impact player, such a difference maker, such that you can't do without him, how does a player in his prime play 4 teams in 5 years?
I think it's also the context of it. So he was with Arizona, and it wasn't working out.
Yes.
They were not playing him correctly. And then he gets traded to Carolina, or did he sign a 1-year deal?
No,
he went to Carolina for 1 year.
On a 1-year deal.
And played really well. It was the prove-it deal.
Right.
And then the Eagles pay him. So that's 3 teams.
And then the Eagles kept him for 2 years and let him
walk.
got rid of him.
But I don't think the Arizona to Carolina thing was because he was a problem child in Arizona.
Well, I'm not saying
I think Carolina-Philadelphia was he played very well with his former college coach and got paid by Philadelphia.
I would just say to you, if Carolina thought he was that, they wouldn't do without him. The Eagles, if they felt they were that good, wouldn't do without him.
Right.
Arizona wouldn't have let him get away.
Well, that's also assuming that Arizona and Carolina have the slightest clue of what they're doing.
Right. That's
Which
another
is not
point.
necessarily.
I mean, nobody's talking about the Cardinals and the Panthers as beacons of Super Bowl champions.
This may end up being one of those things you can clip and comes back to haunt me. I am the further this goes along, I am of the belief that we will not be doing shows talking about we gave up one of the Defensive Player of the Year candidates in Haason Reddick.
All right, then you can clip this because it won't come back and haunt me.
Wow, we're getting a lot of headlines this morning.
We will?
When Haason Reddick has 10 sacks
he may get 10 sacks.
through 12 weeks in the NFL season, we're going to be freaking out.
Okay.
And if Josh Sweat has not had a sack in like 3 weeks, we're going to be complaining about it.
Well, we definitely will complain because that's what we do.
Right,
we
absolutely.
have a PhD in that.
But it's
the
also
idea,
because we will say, I told you so.
I love, not like, love this offseason philosophy.
Okay.
I love the fact that Dickerson, that Mailata, that Devonta Smith are locked down. I had to be swayed a bit on the idea of paying Saquon what they're paying him.
Yep.
And paying a running back. But I love having Saquon Barkley.
Absolutely.
So it's one of those things where I'm okay with the offseason plan. If someone had presented Howie's offseason plan that we wake up to today on April the 16th and given it to me on March 1st and said, here's what you're going to get.
Right.
But here's what you're going to lose. I think I'd take it. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson comes in. I think I would say, I'll take it.
I just also wonder, could they have also had Haason Reddick?
They could have.
Like, and to me, it's an A+++ if Haason Reddick is still on this team with the draft upcoming. But my biggest issue is without Haason Reddick, you lost your best player on defense, and I see an offense that is win now. I understand that there were a lot of issues in the locker room last year. There's questions about leadership. There's questions about Nick Sirianni. There's questions about offensive and defensive philosophies. And Howie Roseman's philosophies of not paying linebackers and ignoring certain positions and putting money in other positions. This offense, if we're talking strictly offense, there is no window. Like,
it's fantastic.
It broke off.
Right.
Like, you can't shut it. That's how good this offense is. The defense without Haason Reddick still worries me about, all right, so we put all this money into the offense for what reason?
You have every right to be worried, but what I would tell you is a defense with Haason Reddick last year finished 30th, and I see zero chance that the Eagles are a bottom half of the NFL defense this year.
My only issue when you say the defense with Haason Reddick is 30th, because you said it a few times, and I don't disagree with you, because his lack of production toward the second half of the season is part of the reason why
absolutely
they fell. They caused no pressure on the quarterback.
And remember the Fletcher Cox comments.
Right. But this is also a defense that finished 30th that had an undrafted rookie free agent, or second year, in Reed Blankenship, who had no competition going into the season. None, right? He was your starting safety, period. James Bradbury, who looked everything of a 30-year-old corner, right? Like, he looked washed.
As if we couldn't have seen that coming.
The linebackers that we all,
yes.
I don't think there was a single person in Philadelphia that said, no, you know what? I think they found a steal in Nicholas Moreau. We all were worried about the linebacker position. Even those that were excited for Nakobe Dean, there was still let's see what this guy's got.
There's a lot of apprehensive about that.
So you point out a defense with Haason Reddick was 30th. It was also a defense with Reed Blankenship, question marks at linebacker, 2 30-year-old corners. I can't just say it's Haason Reddick's fault.
Now, here's the thing, though, is last year I was getting ratioed when I kept saying, you don't want 2 30-year-old corners.
Right.
And everybody was saying, you got to bring them back, got to bring them back, got to bring them. And I'm like, what are you doing? That's not what good franchises do. So fans will bitch and complain about what they get when they get it, when it doesn't work out.
When they wanted it, right.
When you just go, it doesn't make sense. Don't pay guys in their 30s. Don't overinvest, because there is absolutely empirical data to show you that it doesn't work out. There's one of those guys in Haason Reddick.
Yeah, he's in his 30s.
And I would say it again. If Howie Roseman presented me what would happen on April 16th, John, here's my offseason. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Saquon Barkley, extensions for Mailata, Devonta Smith, I would have gone, but you're losing Haason? I'll take the risk.
Can he also give us a, April 30th?
Well, no, here's one thing. Here's one thing I would give you.
Because I would like to see the draft.
Here's one thing I would give you from NFL Live, and I believe it may have. Gosh, I'll remember who said it. The Eagles have plenty of financial flexibility.
Yes, they do.
Still, that they could acquire players at the trade, at the draft,
right,
like Howie has done before.
And that might shut me up. That could shut me up about the Haason Reddick thing.
That might get you somebody that at least. I don't think it's going to make you feel that much better about Haason being gone. But Howie may go, you may go, okay, I feel a little.
Well, it might make you feel better if it's an edge rusher. Again,
right.
You're talking to a guy who is not a fan of Josh Sweat.
No, I believe me, I'm not either.
I'm sorry for the people that love this sweaty brow celebration.
Really? They like half of a season of football?
I'm not a big Josh Sweat fan, and there's players that people love that I'm not a big fan. Like Paul Reed's a big one, right? I'm not the biggest Paul Reed guy. People love Paul Reed, and then I feel like I'm on an island. Josh Sweat, to me, knowing that my edge rushers right now are Josh Sweat and Bryce Huff, and as you have pointed out, Bryce Huff played very similar snaps to Brandon Graham.
He played the similar snaps to an aging player at the end of their career.
So if there is a trade for another edge rusher, I might feel better about Haason Reddick.
You may feel better.
But on April 16th, as thrilled as I am with the offseason so far, I still think, all right, that is a big part that they lost that could literally be the difference between getting back to an NFC championship game or not.
Well, is this and people, can chime in with us, especially on the text line. To me, I see this offseason, I put it in the winning column right now, not in the if you had a winning, is this a winning offseason? Is this a losing offseason? Or is this a neutral? Right now, I put it in the winning offseason.
I would like to say winning, and I think I lean winning. The only problem is, how many times did we talk about last year? Well, they got that offense. They're not going to lose games. They'll just outscore everybody.
And they did. I'm not worried with Kellen Moore. I think
that is the biggest thing for me. The fact that I know that you have a competent offensive coordinator, not Brian Johnson, and I hope Nick Sirianni is far away from the game planning room during the week. That's the thing that keeps me at bay.
You think Dak Prescott? You think Jalen Hurts is every bit as good as Dak Prescott when he's playing?
I think he could be better.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Again, when he had Dak Prescott, he had a top 3 scoring offense. I'm very confident that the offense will be able to wipe away, unlike what it was last year with Brian Johnson.
Right. I mean, that was horrible.
It was terrible. But I also think the defense is going to be significantly better with Vic Fangio.
And also, speaking of the defense, so that must mean, at least this is my belief, it's a defense NFL draft for the Eagles, at least early on.
I still think you may be an offensive lineman with the first pick. The first pick.
I'm going to ask people today on the text line, phone line. We have a lot of questions today. The number is 610-632-0975. I know it is April 16th, so we still have some time. This Thursday, 2 days from now, will be 1 week to the NFL draft. I want people to get on the record today, and then obviously that's going to change as we get closer. When it's the week of the draft, you might have a different opinion. Look, I'm sure Howie Rosen's mind has changed 50 times
guarantee it.
About what they're going to do with the first-round pick. Today, who do you want the Eagles to draft in the first round, or who do you think the Eagles will draft in the first round? Because I'm with you, John. It's so unsexy, but the Eagles are going to probably draft an offensive lineman. We will roll our eyes at it.
See, I won't.
And then we will celebrate it 3 years from now.
I won't. I really won't.
No, neither.
But I will take it that, again, you have 3 picks in the top 53. 2 of them must be defense.
I would hope so.
In my mind, must be.
What if they do trade up for – I know you said you want 3 picks. Andrew Pacheco is going to be joining us Thursday for the entire 8 o'clock hour like he's done twice so far leading up to the draft. He has talked about trading up for a starting corner.
I'm absolutely fine.
So
because I think a starting corner would be the easiest way to negate the loss of
Bradbury.
I think to negate
Reddick.
the loss of Reddick.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Because to me, I think then if you've got cover corners and you have athletic corners, and you add C.J. Gardner-Johnson, you add that. I think it transforms the back end of your defense, and maybe it covers up some of your warts.
So if it means offensive lineman and starting corner instead of 3 players, you take it. You'd sign up for it right now.
No, I'd trade one of the 4th-round picks to upgrade.
Okay.
I want 3 picks in the top 53. I want 3 in the top. Everything
Getting greedy, John.
Everything I read in the top 50. I read one yesterday from Lane. Brugler, Dane Brugler. That from pick 25 to pick 58 or something is the same player.
Okay.
So they're the same player. It's just a matter of what position they play. There's like 24 guys that are actually first down grade.
You know how he's not using all 3 picks. It's not happening.
All I know is this. I'm liking the plan. I really do. I'm liking it.
Do you like the plan so far, that it's been offense with a sprinkle of defense? I am still upset about Haason Reddick. I don't think that's going to change until maybe I see how the rest of this offseason plays out. But are you cool with the offseason philosophy of Howie Roseman being offense? So I want to hear from you. What do you think about that? Also, who do you think the Eagles will draft in the first round? You can text in or call in at 610-632-0975. Worst possible night for the Flyers last night. We'll talk about it next. Also, we started a Jimmy Kempski from the Philly Voice article about the 10 things the Eagles could do with that first-round pick. We started talking about it, but we got sidetracked with a lot of stuff going on yesterday. We'll dive into that coming your way next as well, right here. Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A walk-off winner.
What's up, YouTube? We have another big day today on Kincade and Salciunas. Flyers in action tonight. They could win and get into the playoffs. I can't believe it. Sixers are 1 day away from the play-in tournament. And then Thursday's 1 week from the NFL draft. So we got a lot to talk about all day today here on Kincade and Salciunas.
Who would have ever thought that Game 82 of the Flyers season would actually be like a Game 7? Could they win and get in? Might be happening. Here's what I know. We've got 2 pairs of tickets to give away to tonight's huge game at the Wells Fargo Center. Just got to be listening to Kincade and Salciunas.
Phillies played their first game against the Rockies last night. We're going to be reacting to that today on Kincade and Salciunas. It's a pretty winnable series for the Phils, so can they get over 500 again? Can they get back on track? I think it's a great opportunity for the team. We're going to be talking about all of it.
morning, Kincade Salciunas. Another beautiful morning in the Philadelphia area. Just not a beautiful night last night for the Flyers. We'll get back to the draft talk in a second and the off-season talk for the Eagles. And I have this Jimmy Kempski top 10 things the Eagles can do with the first-round pick that we'll discuss. But, John, Kincaid's calculator was buzzing before the game started last night. You gave us all the scenarios of what needed to happen. And, John, none of them happened.
It was 4-1 Montreal
4-1.
Late in the second period. And I'm thinking, well, we got one of our gifts.
We needed Detroit to lose.
We need Detroit to lose one of two games. And last night they're down 4-1. I'm thinking, there it is. There it is. We're going to get that one. And then Pittsburgh at the same time. Pittsburgh's up 3-1. Nashville scores to make it 3-2. And I'm going, here
we go.
Could we get two gifts? And we end up getting a simple scenario as we wake up today. Simple scenario.
Everything went to crap.
It did. But I don't think it's outlandish to think that two things have to happen. Two things have to happen tonight for tomorrow to be important.
Okay.
Flyers win in regulation.
Yep.
And you crush the Washington Capitals, you knock them out. So if the Flyers win in regulation, Caps are knocked out.
And again, John is saying regulation.
Must be regulation. If the game goes to overtime, you can't let it happen.
Yeah.
Can't let it happen. So here's what you need to do, too. We could see a game tonight where it's 2-2 in the third period, and John Tortorella, with 3 minutes to go, has an offensive zone faceoff and pulls his goalie.
Right, because you need
He must win in regulation.
Yeah.
So regulation is the key. Plus, tonight, Detroit must lose in regulation at Montreal.
Right, because they can't get a point.
Those are two things. If those two things happen, which isn't outrageous
It's not
at all.
outrageous, no.
Outrageous. Those two things happen, then tomorrow night, Pittsburgh will win and be in, or Pittsburgh will lose in regulation and the Flyers will be
So
in.
that means we have to root against the Pittsburgh Penguins?
Yeah, but that's easy to
man.
do. But, I mean, look, just keep it simple. It just annoyed me the whole way in this morning. All I could think of was one game. One game, and the Flyers would be in.
Yeah. If they didn't lose 8 straight, this is why I was so upset, John.
It's one, yeah, but it's one game in the course of an entire year.
No, I understand
It's
that.
unbelievable.
But if they went 1-7,
but again,
if they went 2-6,
but again though, the teams that they're competing with, playoff expectations,
and the Flyers
are complete rebuild.
You're
So
right.
I mean, so the teams that are still alive. Detroit did not all have playoff expectations, though.
Right.
So they're like they weren't in the first year of a rebuild, but theirs.
Well, you'll be able to listen to the Flyers game tonight right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Root for Detroit to lose, root for the Flyers to win, and then we get ready for tomorrow and hope that the Penguins lose. Well, Flyers win in regulation. Again, we got to make that clear. All right, so Jimmy Kempski put out an article in the Philly Voice. Covers the Eagles, has been doing it for a long time. So we went through the first two yesterday, and I'll just remind you, the list is the Eagles' top 10 options with their first-round pick. Now, number 10 is not necessarily an option. It's more so he's happy that we're not talking about running backs or linebackers in the first round because there's not really a player for the Eagles to get in the first round at running back or linebacker. And, you know, last year we lied to ourselves about the whole Bijan Robinson thing, even though Shefty has said that if it was a different scenario, the Eagles drafted him.
No, they
just not that high.
They weren't taking him with that pick, but they absolutely would have gone after Bijan Robinson.
Right.
Which I wouldn't have hated.
Number 9 was drafting Brock Bowers, the tight end, which makes total sense. The only question is, are you going to pick him at 22? Does he make it to 22? And if he makes it to 22, are you drafting a tight end with your first-round pick?
I think he's barely making it to if he makes it to 22, I think it's a coin flip right now.
Right. Number 8, and this is the one that I think is going to happen, even though it is so unsexy.
Okay.
He says draft a plug-and-play interior offensive lineman. Now,
he has that as 8?
He has that at 8. Now, I will make this clear. Let me quickly scroll up to see if he has this somewhere. He does. I will just jump ahead to number 2. Number 2 is find Lane Johnson's eventual replacement. I think 2 and 8 can go hand in hand.
I think Lane Johnson's replacement would be what they would. If there is a first-round offensive lineman taken, it is that to replace Lane Johnson.
But I think that replacement could play right guard for a year or two. And I think I've been on this Tyler Guyton thing for a while. He's out of Oklahoma. Lane Johnson has worked out with him.
Absolutely.
Look, Jason Kelsey handpicked Cam Jurgens, right? Why not listen to Lane Johnson, one of your best right tackles in franchise history, to handpick a replacement of his? It wouldn't be the first time where the Eagles drafted a potential replacement that played a different position. Landon Dickerson was supposed to be the eventual replacement to Jason Kelsey.
Correct.
He is now the highest paid left guard in NFL history. Before Landon Dickerson, Isaac Seumalo
was supposed to be
the
that guy,
potential
yes.
replacement. He ended up playing right guard. I wasn't the biggest Seumalo guy, but he played on this offensive line that was very successful and ended up getting paid via free agency. It wouldn't be something new for the Eagles to draft a potential replacement and move them to right or left guard. Now, this case would be right guard. And he either stays at right guard or he's Lane Johnson's eventual replacement. So I think number 2 and number 8 in Jimmy Kempsey's list can be the same thing.
I think 2 is the guy. I do not believe they would do 8.
The plug-and-play interior offensive
Correct.
line. Unless it's, to me, a right like Tyler Guyton's a right tackle.
Yeah, he is.
So I think he could play.
I guess
Cam
so.
Jurgens is considerably an undersized right
Guyton
guard.
could play right away. Yeah,
Right, he could.
play right. So, I get you.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that they did. So we'll continue to run through these because we've given you 10, 9, 8, and 2. It's his top 10 list. But let's get to the people because I know people want to talk about this. You can climb in on the text line or the phone line, 610-632-0975. The question that we're asking today, are you cool with the offense or the off-season game plan for Howie Roseman, which has been offense? That's why I keep on stumbling over it. The off-season philosophy has been offense. And not just one offense.
I absolutely say, and again, I say that if I knew the plan on March 1st, I was given the plan of where we are on April 16th, including the departure of Haason Reddick, I would have signed off on it and said,
See,
yeah,
the Reddick thing, I'm still
I got you.
upset. I'm not even going to say bummed, like, oh, darn. I wish he was here.
You're
I am
pissed about
upset.
it.
I am
I get
upset
you.
that Haason Reddick is not here because I think that changes you from Super Bowl contenders to, all right, let's hope this offense is so good that they can get you to an NFC championship game, and then we'll see if you can get a stop.
Gotcha.
Right, look, the Super Bowl in 2017, you needed one stop. Right, that's all it took. So it is possible to win without getting a stop. But you also needed stops in the divisional round against the Falcons. You needed a stop in the NFC Championship game when Patrick Robinson has the pick 6. Defense is still important.
Well, in the 23 Super Bowl, it was 35-35 with a minute to go.
Right.
I mean, neither team was playing great defense that day.
Yeah, so
you know what I mean?
But
you can do it.
The round prior, your edge rusher is the reason why you were able to win that game.
Could be.
Let's go to Jake in West Philly. Jake, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
What up, y'all? How y'all feeling?
Morning,
How
Jake.
you doing, Jake?
It's Jay. What's up, Jake?
Oh,
I'm sorry,
what's
James.
up, Jay? How you doing?
I'm good. Look, I love how we doing this off season. I love everything he got. And he could do that because of the contract that he got with Jalen. Everybody keeps saying Jalen $250 million. He only like 12 against the cap.
Yeah, you're right. You got to look at the cap hit and how he's freaking wizard with that.
Yeah, he could go acquire these guys. And like with the Saquon acquisition, if McCaffrey was out on the market, you would take him. And that effect that Saquon have on defenses is just going to make everybody else better. So
Oh, absolutely. I'm thrilled about it. I was just wondering, could you have allocated the money? You could have still gotten it back. Like I've talked about Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon got far less money, and he's a 3-down back.
He doesn't have the effect. See, Saquon is not a running back. He's a weapon.
Yeah, I love that.
That running back position is only 2 weapons. That's him and McCaffrey.
Yep.
Mixon he's just another running back.
May I ask you, though, Jay, the only thing, and Jay, you and I are on the same page here. I love this offseason so far. I really do. I moved to love yesterday when the Smith deal got done. But
Exactly.
the idea is, though, is that I still wonder, this better be a defensive draft, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
good. Okay, good. All right.
Because Fangio, it's going to be a defensive draft. It's probably going to be 2 offensive. Might get not tight end, but I can see him getting a wide receiver and an offensive lineman, but the rest is going to be defense.
Okay.
Jay, this may have been your most logical call you've ever made.
Look, that's because we ain't talking about you and your baseball Andrew Bryce said.
Yeah. Listen, look, we'll continue that
A later
conversation,
time, yeah,
Jay.
yeah,
I
we'll get
appreciate
that
the
one.
call. He
I've heard you spar with Jay before.
I love Jay.
I think Jay's very interesting, and it's weird because I do tend to, around probably 70% of the time, Jay and I are aligned.
He and I disagree on everything with baseball. Everything. There's never been a phone call
That you
regarding
agree
the
with.
Phillies where we have seen eye to eye.
Sounds like a smart guy. Jay, call back anytime.
That's amazing. Conor, we have texts on this Eagles conversation as well. You can text the show at 610-632-0975.
We do. I think this is interesting because an unnamed texter has contended John's point about Haason Reddick and the amount of teams he's been on. Says CJ is on his fourth different team in 4 years, if you count the Eagles to Detroit to back to Philly. And
Because
is in
the
his prime
Eagles-
and even younger than Reddick. And does that compare to the Reddick situation with multiple different teams?
No, because the Eagles and the agent for CJ is the only reason that he's not here.
Right.
Howie wanted him here last year. This should have been his departure to Detroit never should have happened. The Eagles wanted him. He wanted to be here, and it got screwed up by an incompetent agent that is then fired.
I don't know that it's fair to say when a guy calls the people obnoxious that it's just the agent. Like,
No, he was already.
the
That was
agent was
after
the main thing. But, dude, you don't just because your agent got you a different deal say, I hate those people.
Did you, and I know we are Eagles fans, did you see his social media when he exited?
Yeah.
It was a freaking disgrace. A disgrace by faceless trolls saying the most disgusting. Come on.
He was playing into it.
Let's not spin it in any way. How he was treated on the way out the door.
But dude,
Not spinning anything.
Every
He said
fan
stuff.
base is obnoxious. Let's be honest.
No, I'm gonna.
Go through any team's
Andrew,
Twitter, man.
Andrew, I'm gonna tell you if we're judging obnoxious fan bases in the NFL. And we're one of them. If you don't put us at the top,
we've
or
got
right
John C.
there.
Gardner Johnson over there.
We are obnoxious, but let's not act like the whole league isn't filled with obnoxious fans.
If you don't put us towards the top of the list or at it, you're just being Pollyanna.
We're
absolutely
towards the top, but I wouldn't say we're number one.
They wanted him. He wanted to be here. The Eagles wanted him here. It
And
fell
the
apart
fans wanted to be here.
It fell apart because of an
and then
agent.
when he left, everybody hated him. That's kind of normal.
And it wasn't his fault. He had bad agent.
But that's kind of normal. All right, we'll continue this conversation coming your way next. What do you want the Eagles to do come draft day? And have you been cool with the offseason plan so far? You can climb in on the phone lines or text line, 610-632-0975. We also haven't mentioned the Phillies yet. They win in extras yesterday, but John Kincade sent us a text yesterday that's just so spot on about this team through 17 games. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. beautiful Tuesday morning. Talking a lot about the Eagles today, the offseason after the extension of Devonta Smith yesterday. Are you okay with the offseason game plan being offense? They did add Chauncey Gardner-Johnson defensively, but they also let Haason Reddick, they traded Haason Reddick to the New York Jets. They did add Bryce Huff, but I think the unknown of Bryce Huff for a lot of people kind of hampers the excitement for the defense. Now, the draft is still coming up. They could make trades for starters via the draft. We'll see what the Eagles end up doing. But on April 16th, are you cool with what the Eagles have done so far this offseason? You can climb in on the phone lines at 610-632-0975. You can also text in some answers. And I know we got a text about the draft. We're also asking you right now, right? You're about, we're 9 days from the draft. What do you want the Eagles, or what do you think? You can answer both questions. What do you think the Eagles will do with their first-round pick? I still believe that they are going to draft offensive line because it's just what the Eagles do. The name I keep on saying is Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. He will be Lane Johnson's eventual replacement at right tackle, but he could start at right guard in the meantime. That's just what the Eagles do, man, right?
I thoroughly expect.
And it's worked.
I expected it'll happen, but there is value. If they were willing to move up, there is value at impact corners. And Andrew DeCecco will go over more of that.
I can't wait.
Thursday.
I can't wait to talk to him on
Could
Thursday.
happen. But
yeah.
I really do believe an impact corner would probably be the way to best negate the loss of Haason Reddick.
Okay. And I thought. Now, Conor, we have a text about what the Eagles might do in the first round.
We actually have two real quick ones.
Okay.
So at 22, so this texter says the 22, they want Cooper DeJean or an edge rusher, and at 50 and 53, linebacker and a third wide receiver.
I think it's Dijon. I'm not sure.
Dijon Mustard?
Dijon Mustard. I'm not sure. It might be Dijon, but I can tell you, I went down the 8-10 minute rabbit hole on YouTube on him the other day.
Okay.
Oh my.
Yeah, he's a player.
No, the man can just lay people out.
You know what I love?
What?
He's sneaky athletic.
Yes.
Oh, well, you know why they're saying
Student
that.
of the game.
Because he's a white safety.
He's a white safety. Yeah, exactly. Because you can't just say he's athletic.
Dude,
it has to be.
It was the official NFL Twitter account.
It's so
posted
embarrassing.
a video of him from his pro day, and it was, wow, look at the sneaky athleticism of Cooper DeJean. I think they do it on purpose at this point. Like, I think they know it's a bit.
I thought we were beyond the time.
It just makes me.
We just had that. You know,
makes
that's
me
a
laugh.
funny
Wow, look at the sneaky athleticism.
It used to be the athletic quarterback. You mean? You mean a African American quarterback? Oh yes, yeah. Thank you for that. And now we've stopped with that. So this kid is now the weird thing is to me he plays corner more like safety. He's more like a safety, the way he's going to wail on people.
Right.
And maybe that would be the plan.
It could be.
I don't know, but he's versatile.
Bend, don't break, baby.
Again, don't
Sounds like
forget
that guy.
Chauncey Gardner-Johnson listed as safety/nickel corner.
And remember, he hadn't really played safety much until he came here.
Right.
And he jumped in and did it. I'm very excited. I would really be excited about that. I don't know how anybody – if you watch the 10 minutes that I watched on YouTube – there isn't any way he's lasting to 22.
And the second text, you said edge rusher. I mean, that is an Eagles thing. It's
that was all the same one. The second text
I'm sorry.
is trading the first-round pick to Denver for Patrick Surtain.
That's not going to happen.
You're not kidding. They're not trading the 22nd. No.
It has to be first and multiple more. Like, it's not.
They're not, yes.
You know what? Yes. I am in favor of that.
This is why I hate it when – and not the listener. Appreciate you.
Be nice to the
But
texter.
I do not like talking like,
But I'm in
I have a
favor of-
trade. I have a trade for you. Denver's not making that trade. Sean Payton hangs up on
But
you.
would you do it?
Oh, I would do it in a second. But I would too.
Hang on
When
now.
I trade Christian Pache for Ronald Acuna Jr.
Hang on now. The day before the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson trade, we probably would have said that was a fleece job. The A.J. Brown trade looks like a fleece
you're right.
job.
They're not.
Right.
Howie makes weird things
By the
happen.
way,
Yeah.
don't you dare disrespect the guy that game-winning hit yesterday. My man, my center fielder, Christian Pache, with the base hit yesterday.
There we go.
Nice win for the Phillies, I guess. So you texted us yesterday, and I quote, the Phillies.
When did I text this? Give the time.
This was before they won it.
Well, the timestamp on it would probably be around because we could probably figure.
I'm pretty sure it was 1-1 when you texted us.
It was 1-1. I know. So it was
Like
like
the
it
sixth or
was
seventh.
later in the
Texted us
game.
at
Yes.
8:14. It was a 1-1 ball game. Now keep in mind they're playing arguably the worst baseball team in the league.
And maybe the worst starter in the league just shut them down again.
And
a terrible
you
start.
texted us, and I quote, "The Phillies are so frustrating," end quote. John, it is just perfectly worded about this team through 17 games. Now, that doesn't mean you say Phillies stink, they're not winning anything this year. The Phillies are so frustrating. I think even Conor Thomas, Mr. Everything's good, I think even you can agree with that sentiment.
Sometimes, yeah.
What do you mean sometimes?
Dude, the base running mishaps.
It's embarrassing.
Exactly.
The lack of hits against a horrible starting pitcher.
Yes.
The lack of run support for both Zach Wheeler and Aaron
Wait a
Nola.
minute. Bailey Falter shut
Falter
them down
beat you.
and made them look embarrassing. This is a trend. This isn't a one-off like last night was the oddball.
Right.
This team's approach at the plate. And again, if I hear one more thing about their hitting coach being one of the best in baseball, bull pucky.
Well,
because this team's approach at the plate.
That's a bridge too far.
It
I
sucks.
can't.
This
can't
team's
say,
approach at the
dude,
plate
I can't say
sucks.
Kevin Long is the reason why they're not.
No, I'm just saying to you,
17 games.
That's it.
And I don't even know how much the hitting coach really matters.
We have 3 years. But we have 3. Well, then how come I always hear about how good he is?
Because there are people that say stars like Juan Soto talk about.
Last year in August, they had one of the greatest home run months in the history of the sport.
Okay.
He does good things, too.
Right.
Good. It's just amazing that it just takes until summer for any of it to show fruit.
Hitting season, John.
So ridiculous.
So, Connor.
Yes.
You say sometimes. You love baseball.
Right.
Have you thoroughly enjoyed the 17 games the Phillies have played this year?
No. But
so you can agree. And again, this is 2 days in a row where I am agreeing with John Kincade.
Yeah, put that down in
the world has stopped spinning. I agree with John. The Phillies are so frustrating.
They're a dumb baseball team. Whether they win, whether they make it to the postseason, they're dumb on the base paths. They're dumb approach at the plate.
They're dumb in the field.
They're dumb in the field. They make poor decisions. They're not a fundamentally sound baseball team. And
that doesn't mean they can't be good.
Right. They can still be, because they're so talented. They can be.
Yes, and their rotation's great, which is why, look, you're 9-8 because of your rotation.
Right.
If your bats have come to life, you're better than 9-8.
We all have a dumb friend that's funny. They're really dumb, but they have redeemable qualities.
They have incredible qualities.
Yeah,
they do.
He's coming up at 10.
But John is right. Through 17 games, the Phillies are so frustrating. All right, we reset the show. Coming your way next. The text line and phone lines open at 610-632-0975. Are you cool with the offseason game plan so far for the Eagles? What do you want to do as of today for the draft? And we'll continue more about this Phillies thing. Are they so frustrating? I don't see how you could say no. Connor's being nice saying sometimes. Just say no, damn it. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Pache plays.
Salciunas. Happy Tuesday morning. If you're just joining us, we'll reset the entire show for you. Here's what we've been talking about. Yesterday, the Devonta Smith extension happens. How come all this news happens right at the end of our show?
I think that, I always thought that Tyrone Johnson
That's
had
what it
some
used to
sort
be.
of I think Ty had some sort of a embargo on the big stories always broke during Best Show
But
Ever.
ever since the new show started, Bob gets all this info.
I think Bob Cooney, with all of his contacts from years in the Philly sports media, just says to, like, the organizations, feed me that a little after 10.
It's right after the show.
Let me get my opening, set up and everything, and then throw it my way. So I think Bob may actually be snaking Tyrone.
Wow.
And the two of them are just saying, screw Kincade and Salciunas.
And then we're just sitting here saying,
we get
look, I'm not expecting news to break at 6 o'clock in the morning, but throw us a bone at like 9:30 so that we have like 30 minutes to talk about. Now, I will say the benefit is that we had a full show set up because of the Devonta extension.
Yeah, you guys are complaining. We get 6 p.m. on to react to first.
That's
You got like half the night every night.
Well, it
you know
depends.
What, Conor, it's a great point.
Did you have exciting nights like the Phillies last night?
Yeah, walk-off winner, baby. Get excited.
Or did things go well for the Flyers last night? No, it didn't. But here's what we're talking about today. The Devonta Smith extension happens yesterday, and it's another great move for the Eagles, right?
I love it.
I want to once again make this clear because I know somebody's probably listening in their car going, oh, what, do you not like this move? I love the move. It's just another offensive move. Now, I think the extension could have gone with a defensive addition. Like, I don't think Devonta the last move that they made. I don't think it had to be the last move that they made. I'm still upset, and I popped off at the beginning of the show about the Haason Reddick thing because our open, if you're not listening at 6 o'clock, our open always has discourse between you and I, or we might agree about it because we agreed about the Reddick situation.
Right, exactly.
I'm still upset that Haason Reddick is no longer on this team because I think this offense is a Super Bowl caliber offense. I think this defense could keep you from getting to the Super Bowl. I think this defense can probably still work with this offense to get you to the playoffs and the divisional round and maybe the NFC Championship game. But is it good enough to stop a 49ers offense? Is it good enough to stop a Lions offense? Is it good enough to stop a Packers offense? The Eagles offense might be able to score points, but last year we told ourselves that the offense would outscore everybody. That didn't happen.
If I ask you, though, what do you know? What do we know on April 16th about how he's playing? And I think what we know is that he had no interest in bringing Haason Reddick back.
But that doesn't mean I have to agree with it.
No. And I totally understand the discourse on it. And I wanted him back.
Yes.
So, but we know, for whatever reason, how he had because he could still, they could have had Haason Reddick, Devonta Smith, Mailata, and Landon Dickerson all signed.
Right, absolutely.
Plus gotten CJ, they chose not to. So it tells me that we have seen this plan unfold. Now, the second half of an offseason plan is always now, what do you do?
Right.
What do you do with the draft?
With the draft, whether it's selections
9 days.
Or it's trades. And so we want to hear from you on the text line or the phone line, 610-632-0975. And Conor, let us know if we have any texts coming in. Are you cool with what the offseason has been so far, the Eagles, where it's offense, with the additions of Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who I think we're all excited about, and Bryce Huff, who I think that unknown is the only thing that's keeping people sort of grounded. Like, I like the signing, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, I know that he's going to go out there and be able to fill in for what Haason Reddick gave you 2 years ago, which was 16 sacks. Like, I don't know enough about Bryce Huff. I know that he's a good edge rusher, but I also, I should say this, I know that he's good against the pass at rushing the quarterback. But I also know, based off of what I've read and based off of what the NFL people that cover this league inside and out tell you, he's not really great at setting an edge against the run. And he played, minimal more snaps than Brandon Graham last year?
He's less than half the snaps of Haason Reddick, less than half the snaps of Josh Sweat.
Right.
But that's a problem. But I would also say to you is one of the things that Huff, that I really will keep my mind open and be objective about it. But I'll also be honest about it. And I believe if 95% of Eagles fans were honest, you had no idea who Bryce Huff was.
Right.
You had no idea. People didn't go. If you had went around the Eagles at an Eagles tailgate and
not
said,
many people would know Bryce Huff.
Who does Bryce Huff play for?
Right.
People wouldn't have been able to tell you 95 out of 100 wouldn't have been able to tell you he plays for the
I'll only tell you that I knew because I was really intrigued by the Jets story last year. But 2 years, I didn't know who Bryce Huff was 2 years ago.
And to me, it's the idea of I think everybody's gotten educated on him now. I hope it all works out. I'm hoping Bryce Huff works out.
Hopeful,
but
yeah.
to me,
and I don't think anyone's saying it's not going to work out. It's just you're now putting a lot of bread in the basket of not only Bryce Huff but also Josh Sweat to replace what you had with Haason Reddick, who even with the second half, he still had 11 sacks last year. He had 16 the year before that when you had a better defensive front, right? Like you had vets and Javon Hargrave and Fletcher Cox. Who knows? Another year of Jordan Davis, another year of Jalen Carter may have brought Haason Reddick back to his form from 2 years ago. Maybe not 16 sacks, but maybe 12 over the course of 17 weeks instead of 10 up front in the first half of the season, then nothing the second half of the season.
Josh Sweat and I pointed out in the morning show over and over again, people are probably tired of hearing it, is every single year of his Eagles career, he has his least was 7. His average was 8. His most was 9. Gaps without a sack.
Games,
He just literally just disappears. 8-game stretches, 9-game stretches where he is a zero factor.
Right.
Unless Josh Sweat changes that talking point, I absolutely hate the fact that he stayed and Haason left.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Now, maybe the only reason why he did stay, and Jeff McLane has kind of said it, he took the pay cut. Whereas Haason Reddick wanted more money. So we'll see how it plays out.
Sure.
Also, the draft.
By the way, that money has not come for Reddick yet.
No, it is not. We'll see how that works out. The draft 2 Thursdays from now. Jimmy Kempski has an article of the 10 things. Jimmy Kempski, the Philly voice, covers the Eagles and has been for a long time, Conor. What should the Eagles do in the first round? He gave his top 10 things the Eagles can do in the first round. We would love to hear from you. Also on the text line or phone line, 610-632-0975, what you want the Eagles to do and what you think the Eagles will do, because that's 2 different answers. Like, I don't necessarily want the Eagles to draft an offensive line because it's not as fun to talk about.
No, it's not.
But I think they're going to draft an offensive line because it's what they've done, and it's worked.
So do
over 20 years
What I expect and what I want is, and the weird thing is, with all the success the Eagles have had with that formula, it should be what we want.
It should be. You're right. It should be.
But Howie Roseman has turned you into what you are right now because of the fact that they've invested so much on making this offense a top-notch luxury vehicle.
Right.
And right now you've got just a car that can get you back and forth to work.
Right.
And on the defensive side.
And
he's made you what you are.
Right. I want this to get me this sexy pick, which is a corner or a safety or something.
And that is what it is.
So here's Kempski's top 10. We ran through a couple. Number 10 was just the sheer fact that we don't have to pretend that the Eagles are going to draft a running back or a linebacker. He had Brock Bowers at 9, plug-and-play interior offensive lineman at 8. And then we jumped to number 2 because number 2 was the eventual replacement of Lane Johnson. I think that can go hand in hand. I think Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma could be a guy that could start at right guard, but he is a tackle, eventually surpass Lane Johnson or take over Lane Johnson right tackle. Number 7, and our man Jay from West Philly called in saying wide receiver.
No.
I can't.
No.
I can't see that happening.
They're not. When?
At 22.
Absolutely zero chance with what you've invested
now
financially in that. No way.
Well,
no.
It's rookie contract.
A third receiver?
Well,
no.
Hang on.
Jackson Smith and Jigba. It was what the Seattle Seahawks did last year. They already had Lockett, and they already had what's his name? DK Metcalf.
They will never, in a capital N, never do this. Never. Not after what they just invested.
It'd be a lot cooler if they did.
And they're in the mid. And these guys, if your 2 starting wide receivers weren't in the mid-20s, if you told me that they moved up a little bit, because I don't believe Brock Bowers is there at 22. If you told me they moved up a little bit to get Brock Bowers,
right,
who can be lined up as a third receiver, can be lined up as a tight end,
can line
exactly.
Up, yeah.
To me, that is something they might do.
Right.
They're never just drafting a straight wide receiver.
I think Seattle has the right idea of going offense. The only problem is they had so many other holes that they should have probably worried about. To me, it's the same thing with the Eagles. There's more holes on defense than drafting a third receiver, but he has them at number 7.
Okay.
Number 6, he has trade down. But there's a reason why. Because you mentioned players 23 through.
It was yesterday. It was players 20. I believe it was 25 to like 58 or something are the same guy.
Okay.
They have the same relative grades. It's just a matter of where they're drafted, like a position they're drafted from. So it's like everybody you could just take. I think Dane had 24 first-round grades.
Okay.
So 8 of the guys that we drafted in the first round, he thinks those teams should be sort of backing out of the back end of the first round of the draft because they're not first-round people. So then if you draft a guy at 27, 28, 35, 40, it's the same.
They're all second-round
same
talent.
guy.
Yeah.
And you just have to decide what's more important for you. I believe I could see them sliding back a couple.
Now,
at 22.
Now,
to me,
but
trading
still in
back
the first round. Yeah.
I think trading back from 22 for the Eagles is more likely than trading up.
Okay. Now, his reasoning, it's an interesting one. And I'm sure maybe, Bugler?
Dane Brugler.
Yeah,
and by the way, he has a great draft guide if anybody has not taken the time.
He does.
Great draft stuff.
So, Kemsky, based off of the people that he's talked to, may have the reason why it's such a big gap like that. Because a lot of these guys are the COVID redshirt people.
Oh, yeah, that's truth.
And we all heard that coaching it was really hard to coach up younger players during the COVID season. So these are the redshirt freshmen via COVID that are coming out now. The other thing, NIL deals. There's players that aren't at the top programs because they may have gotten money somewhere else. And they may not be at the top program, so they're not getting as much buzz because they're not at the top program. So the NIL deals may actually affect either help or hurt draft stock for players.
I never gave that a thought.
Never.
I mean, that's really good. Jimmy, that's a good observation. Good observation.
So we have a couple more that we'll run through as the show continues, but it's his top 10 things the Eagles can do at the draft. I think you'll like number 5, but I'll tell you that one later. Let's go to Mike in the Lehigh Valley, and then we got some texts as well. What's up, Mike?
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good,
how are
Mikey.
So I just wanted to talk a bit about the Eagles with the question on if I liked their offseason so
Yes.
far or
Sure.
not. I do like it. I agree. I kind of agree with you guys about the whole Reddick thing, but I think more trading him instead of seeing what Huff is, it's more this is Nolan, or what Sweat is. It's more this is Nolan Smith's time to prove himself.
I think that's a fair assessment in that Nolan Smith was brought here to be the next Haason Reddick.
And I think Howie Roseman has sort of talked about that, saying Nick Sirianni needs to realize it's okay to play the young players.
And Nolan,
Thanks for the call, Mike.
Nolan Smith has a great he has a great skill set. If I was to put it here with these Georgia guys,
Yeah.
Jalen Carter to me is the no-brainer that I think escalates this year. Jordan Davis, I believe, will be better than he's been. I still don't know. Can he put together 6-17
Well, I think that's the thing. Is he better than he will what he's been first half of the season, or is he just as good first half?
He can just drag it out longer,
and then it goes
Yes.
longer, right?
I think Jordan Davis is going to be one of those guys that, and maybe I'll end up being wrong on this, that we're going to talk about later on in his career as being a Brandon Graham type. That this city was grumpy about and waiting for more and
also
displeased.
the player that they didn't draft.
And then it came, but which I'm never going to forget that
You
one.
and me were all Kyle Hamiltoned up.
Oh, my God.
And then he decides to be an all-pro this year.
Oh, my gosh. And so we got that. Then I would say, but the question I have is Nakobe Dean. I have less questions about Nolan Smith than I do Nakobe Dean.
Yeah, Nakobe Dean I have a lot of questions about.
I have a question about durability with Nakobe Dean. I don't have that with Nolan Smith because I don't know about his
durability.
shoulder.
When Nakobe Dean played, he didn't look good.
Yeah, I've seen
It's not just durability, it's ability.
But I've seen enough of Nakobe Dean against the top competition in college football when he was there that he was outstanding. But the thing is, if he's not shooting the gap and getting after the quarterback, he can be a liability in other ways.
Yep, and we've seen it.
And but you need a competent sort of like veteran next to him. I'm anxious to see where that turns out, and I want to believe that Nakobe Dean's going to really pay.
Oh yeah, of course, it'd be great, especially because he's on the rookie contract.
Sure.
So you definitely want that to happen. Now, the only thing about Nolan Smith that I don't like,
What's that?
and it's not him.
It's the glasses.
No, the glasses, his Urkel glasses.
No, it's the forced PR tour that the Eagles were kind of doing. Ian Rappaport randomly puts out a tweet. Oh, the Eagles are expecting big things out of Nolan Smith in year 2. The random tweets from this reporter, that reporter. It's Howie Roseman sending out tweets just to kind of let everybody know that we expect big things out of Nolan Smith next year. That tells me that they're really relying on Nolan Smith to be big next year.
Or that they're really confident that they're going to be proven right on him.
Well, I sure hope so.
Oh, no, we do.
I just also remember the Jeremy Fowler tweets last year that Jalen Hurts became a much better pocket passer during the offseason, and then I watched him roll out 95% of the plays last year.
If Nolan Smith plays this year the amount of snaps that Haason Reddick played, and he goes out in his first year as a true starter,
right,
and is able to get them, what's a fair number?
7 sacks.
You go 8? Okay, 7 or 8. Then it is a huge success, and they should have moved on from Haason Reddick.
Okay. Well, we'll see if that plays out.
No, that's it.
It's the PR tour.
No, it's the truth.
Howie's clearly texting people to say, hey, put this out there. Just like the Jeremy Fowler thing last year about Jalen Hurts has become much better in the pocket. And I bought into it. I was like, wow, that was the one area that he probably needed to work on more.
Yes.
And it looked like it regressed last year. So do I really believe what the reporters are saying about Nolan Smith? I don't. I need to see it for myself.
Okay.
I fell for that trap last year. Now we have some texts coming in, Connor. Is that correct?
That is true.
What do we got?
And Brian from New Jersey checks in and says the offense runs the NFL right now, but there are still glaring issues on defense. Howie needs to spend the next week and a half in the corner office and come out ready to draft some stars on defense round 2 and beyond, since we all know they're going offensive line in the first round.
How'd everybody text you, Connor?
They texted me at 610-632-0975.
That's the call-in number.
You could text.
You can also text it.
See, that's
amazing.
wild. That's really wild. That is, by the way, that's next level.
Now,
that's next level.
I will go to Jimmy Kempski's number 5 that I think
you said I'm going to love this one.
You might like this one the most.
Wow.
Unless you have a player that you're just in love with.
All right.
Trade for a starter. So you move on from that first-round pick and you trade for a starter. He talks about guys like, Brian Burns and Haason Reddick and L'Jarius Sneed, who all kind of got dealt for with picks. Could you trade for a starting corner? Now, we had the guy that texted in Patrick Surtain.
That is ridiculous.
I don't think you're trading a first-round pick and getting Patrick Surtain. I think you have to trade a lot more to get Patrick Surtain.
See, now the weird thing is I don't think it's going to be a lot more.
Well, yeah, because you're going to have to pay him.
I think you'd be talking about a
first and a fourth,
a first, a fourth,
and then a future,
3
something
or
like
a future, something like that. And by the way, if Patrick Surtain's available, I would absolutely do it.
Oh, now I'm talking Super Bowl.
Oh, I would absolutely
Like
do it.
I
would absolutely feel it if you got Patrick Surtain, because I'd be totally in, and that would be more than first round value for trading a first round pick.
Now, if it's not Surtain, but it's a starter.
No, not a first rounder.
You're not in favor of
it.
Okay.
No, I need the person that I'd be because I have to pay him.
Right.
I need this person to be an impact starter.
I see. I misread the situation.
No, I'm totally in though. If
he does say if they were to make a big splash for a star starter, my bet is that it would be for a cornerback. That's what Jimmy said in his story. So he did say starter.
Okay, star. I don't believe there's a star. Who would be a star cornerback that's available?
That's avavel. Well, yeah, you're going to have to look at Patrick Surtain or other guys that are on the final year of their deal or young.
Well, then but I don't believe I don't know of any stars.
Right.
That are out. We know their names.
We'll try to do some research.
By now, we'd know their name.
Yeah, you're right.
If there were any stars that were there to be had.
All right, well, coming our way next, we continue the Eagles conversation. Jeff McLane of the Philadelphia Inquirer, Inquirer.com, will be joining us at 7:30. We continue this Eagles conversation, and we'll talk to Jeff about it. Has he been cool with the offseason plan so far by the Eagles where it's been offense, offense, offense? We'll dive deeper into maybe what the Eagles could still do defensively. He's been talking about this James Bradberry thing the last couple of times we've had him on. He still believes that the Eagles move on from Bradberry or just find somebody to replace James Bradberry. So we'll talk to Jeff from the Inquirer, Inquirer.com, coming your way next. You heard Conor mentioning in his update, Scott Hartnell will be joining us at 9:30 today to talk about the Flyers, who need to win tonight in regulation, and they need some other things to happen for them to keep their playoff chances alive. We still have a lot in store for you. It's Kincade and Salciunas right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
You on YouTube.
I thought he was talking to me. What are you yelling at the YouTube audience?
Well, because they're always talking crap about us, so I might as well yell back at them.
But you know what they are? They're very loyal. They're very, very loyal.
Yeah, they're all so sweet.
They are so sweet. And they all listen every single day, and they watch on YouTube, which is a blessing to us.
And we love you, and we thank you for watching us every single morning. And
most days we love them.
Yeah.
Some days we like you.
Yeah, but not all days they love us or even like us.
No, it depends.
So the feeling's mutual. But thanks for watching. We appreciate it.
Stay with us.
As good as Tyrese Maxey is, he can't carry an offense. Not from his position. Not when other teams can so easily stop either him, not easily stop him, but if you design to double team him, or if you design to take the ball out of his hands, other guys have to be there. And once again last night, you just didn't have it. Tobias Harris was the only other double-digit scorer from the starters. Two guys, I think it was Council and somebody else, Wilson off the bench. That got you double figures. So Nick Nurse went to the bench really early. You could see it was just kind of, I'm trying, but you guys just don't have it.
So we're all expecting Howie Roseman to make another move.
But there are players you have to extend, number one. You got to account for the draft and the practice squad. How far into the cap are they? I don't know the number off my head. How far into the cap are they?
I think it's high 20s or low 30s.
Yes.
Left.
Again, there are going to be guys that you're going to want to extend. Devonta Smith is going to have to get a deal to pay your draft class, pay the practice squad, keep money for moves. You know, we're going to be talking later this summer, the end of the summer, before the final cut down. You're going to want them to trade for somebody or do something at that point in time. Again, yeah, they have some money, probably not as much as you think right now. And am I expecting another big move? I think on the one hand they're always looking, but I think if you're looking for that high profile, there are no more of them available. Like that market's kind of shrunk up. Who do you want them to go add right now?
Well, I do not want them to add Justin Simmons. If I'm hearing that they didn't want to pay Haason Reddick, I sure as hell don't want to bring in another guy going in his early 30s and then pay him big money to come in.
Well, and based on what they've done, I don't think they would.
Okay, good. That makes me feel better then.
Yeah, I don't think they would, based on the logic with Haason Reddick. You know, if Justin Simmons came in at a number, a price, would they do that? Maybe. Yeah. Like, I'm making this up. What if it's a 1-year deal worth, I don't know, some friendly number? I'd do that.
Oh, I absolutely would consider it. But the thing is, I wonder was a 1-year offer at a nice number considered to extend Haason Reddick? Every deal I'm going to look at and say, could that deal have been done to keep Haason Reddick here?
But Reddick wanted a new deal. He wanted a new deal last season.
Yes.
Right?
He did. You let the other guy wet his pants because Sam Ersson let in 2 terrible
Can
goals.
you go wet his pants? We were literally just talking about how he should have not played. No, they were terrible.
No, they were terrible. That is wetting your pants. As a goaltender, he let in 2 goals that the average NHL goaltender does not let in. Those 2 goals were terrible.
They were horrible.
They were.
The guys were playing pretty much all season long out of necessity.
And I said that. There's a lot of it.
Okay, a big reason. They lost their goaltender.
Andrew, all that praise. I praised him all year long. But the bottom line is the coach knew the backup goalie was ready to play. And he didn't play him.
What is it that Haley wants us to do?
I don't know. The show's about to start again.
Wait, is that Conor yelling for us to get back on?
Guys, you know you got to come back from break.
So just zip it.
All right.
Let's go.
See you guys. Hey, you on YouTube.
I thought he was talking to me. What are you yelling at the YouTube audience?
Well, because they're always talking crap about us, so I might as well yell back at them.
But you know what they are? They're very loyal. They're very, very loyal.
Yeah, they're all so sweet.
They are so sweet. And they all listen every single day and they watch on YouTube, which is a blessing to us.
And we love you, and we thank you for watching us every single morning. And
most days we love them.
Yeah.
Some days we like you.
Yeah, but not all days they love us or even like us.
No, it depends.
So the feeling's mutual. But thanks for watching. We appreciate it.
Stay with us.
As good as Tyrese Maxey is, he can't carry an offense. Not from his position. Not when other teams can so easily stop either him, not easily stop him, but if you design to double team him, or if you design to take the ball out of his hands, other guys have to be there. And once again, last night, you just didn't have it. Tobias Harris was the only other double-digit scorer from the starters. Two guys, I think it was Council and somebody else, Wilson, off the bench. That got you double figures. So Nick Nurse went to the bench really. You could see it was just kind of, I'm trying, but you guys just don't have it.
So we're all expecting Howie Roseman to make another move.
But there are players you have to extend, number one. You got to account for the draft and the practice squad. How far into the cap are they? I don't know the number off my head. How far into the cap are they?
I think it's high 20s or low 30s.
Yes.
Left.
Again, there are going to be guys that you're going to want to extend. Devonta Smith is going to have to get a deal to pay your draft class, pay the practice squad, keep money for moves. You know, we're going to be talking later this summer, the end of the summer, before the final cut down. You're going to want them to trade for somebody or do something at that point in time. Again, yeah, they have some money, probably not as much as you think right now. And am I expecting another big move?
I never did that one.
Yeah, big dope.
Took till week 5.
That's fine. You're very good at it.
I'll be honest. I'm pretty impressed with myself.
You better not be yelling sponsor in my ear anymore.
Well,
now.
I'm sorry. I only had to remind you like 12 times through 5 weeks.
You remind me when I don't need reminding.
All right, real quick, coming your way at 8 o'clock, as it is 7:29. As you heard me just yell over the sponsor. Coming up at 8 o'clock, your next chance to win $1,000 with our signing bonus. But I need to tell you guys something that
Whoa. What?
is really awesome.
What do you have to tell us?
Dude, we're doing a incredible Mother's Day giveaway. Dude, this is a show of giving.
We are
We're
givers.
doing the Avello Airlines that I'll tell you more about as the show continues.
Those are the greatest. That's the
round trip
greatest
flights.
Stories.
That's amazing.
Greatest stories too.
Now, this Mother's Day giveaway. If you head to 975thefanatic.com, you can enter for a chance to win $2,000 from Mom.
What?
In a Mother's Day giveaway.
What?
It's sponsored by Polite's Florist.
No, it's Polites.
Polites Florist. Thank you. Make Mom's Mother's Day special with beautiful flowers from Polites Florist. Now with 3 locations to serve you, visit politesflorist.com.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Just $2,000.
Wait a minute. That's
for Mom. That's awesome.
Okay, that is to me, I now you're gonna find this later out with Cooper as your kid gets older.
Yeah.
For Liv, cash is king.
Okay.
Oh, she loves cash.
Well,
like she loves getting. Can I have cash?
I wonder if I'm allowed to register. So I'll no.
But let's think. This is sort of like the Avello Airlines thing.
I could have Cooper try to win.
Yeah, but I think both. My mom has passed. Your mom's here. Our wives are not eligible.
Okay.
So read that fine print, Andrew. You got to read the fine print.
All right, I'll try to find somebody that might be able to try to win. But for now, let's head to the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. From the Inquirer, Inquirer.com, the great Jeff McLane joins us. Jeff, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, guys.
Jeff is eligible, by the way.
Jeff is eligible. You can try. Go to the website, Jeff, 975thefanatic.com. You can try to win $2,000, okay?
All right, I could use it, man.
Yeah, everybody could. It's amazing. Jeff, we're getting closer to the NFL draft. This Thursday will mean 1 week from the NFL draft. You and I and John, we talked about this last week. There's a lot more to the draft nowadays than just selecting players, so I'm not going to ask you if you're excited for the NFL draft, but would love to hear some of the stuff that you're hearing so far. A lot of our conversation today is what the Eagles could do with that first-round pick, and there's a million things they could do, and it's not just drafting a player.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as we saw a couple of years ago, A.J. Brown was acquired on draft day, first round of the draft, and Eagles were able to lock him up to a long-term deal, not pretty much at the same moment. And if you're asking me if there's one position that I could see them doing that out, probably cornerback. Yeah, absolutely. That's something that I would not rule out from Howie doing.
What have you seen in the past, behaviors of Howie Roseman leading up to a draft, that maybe lay a trail of breadcrumbs as to what we can expect? Or are there any? Is he a guy that's like the international man of mystery?
Yeah. So, I mean, right. You're asking me what I'm hearing. Yeah, I hear stuff, but I tend to keep, I tend to, take everything with a grain of salt that you're hearing.
Right.
Especially from around the league. There are a few people within the team, I think, that, they're not going to tell me very much because they just don't want their plans being known. There are a few people I think I can trust that will at least give me, maybe stop me from going in the wrong path on something. But,
okay.
I mean, it's very hard, I think, to kind of gauge what the Eagles will do based upon, and plus there's a lot of misdirection that's out there, et cetera. What I usually typically do is just, at this point, Howie Roseman's been the GM for almost 15, I guess it's almost 15 years. It's not very hard to look at what he's done in the past and to predict what, the 5 or 6 things that he might likely do. Or judge, based upon what he's done leading up into the draft in terms of how he's acquired free agents and how he's dealt with the roster and set himself up. He's done a very good job over the last several years of just not making it obvious that he has to do something. To me, I'd say the one, again, I go back to cornerback. That's the one area that I feel like, there's a glaring hole that's still there at the James Bradbury spot. I'm not buying him being the starting cornerback. So, that being said, they still have 10 days here until the draft, so I could possibly see something being done to cover them in that regard. That way, they're not forced. Not only are they not revealing their cards, showing their hand, but they're also not forcing themselves into reaching for a guy at a certain position because they need that.
Do you think this offseason that the Eagles have had so far tells you more that they could trade for a starting corner, a guy that's been in the league for a couple of years now? Because we've talked about the offense. The offense could be that Super Bowl win-now mode offense, but the defense still has some glaring weaknesses. So the offseason that we have watched with additions of Saquon Barkley, the extensions of Devonta Smith, Landon Dickerson, does that tell you more that they might trade for a starting cornerback or a starter on defense?
I don't think what they've done on offense has necessarily said much about what they'll do on defense. I mean, the Landon Dickerson and Devonta Smith extensions were obvious to me. That was something that the Eagles have been working on, or you knew that they were going to do based upon how both those guys performed in their first 3 years. This is what the Eagles do. They extend their homegrown talent that is at a certain level, elite level. Landon Dickerson has been voted to the Pro Bowl the last few years. Devonta Smith, you could argue, could have been. Obviously, based upon his numbers, he's performed at a level that suggests he could be one of the top receivers in the league in a couple of years. So those weren't surprising moves. I guess the only one really was the Saquon Barkley addition. And even then, if you look at the numbers and the exploding salary cap, what he got isn't that out of the ordinary, especially with the Eagles plan on using him on all 3 downs for the bulk of the time. Defensively, they have, they've addressed each level. They've added at the edge. Devon White at linebacker, C.J. Gardner-Johnson at safety. So they have done stuff on the defensive side. Maybe you could say they could have done a little more, and I would agree. I don't think they're done here yet. And I think that's what, to me, suggests more that they could be doing something in terms of the trade market at cornerback.
Jeff, if I was able to put you into a time machine and I brought you back to March 1st and you saw every single thing that has unfolded with the Eagles roster since free agency began and some of these contract extensions and everything with the cap space they had available, would you on March 1st have said, I like that plan? Or would you have said, I'm skeptical of the plan?
Well, I mean, I don't like or dislike anything. I really don't care one way or the other. But I would say, I guess I'm a little surprised what happened to the edge rusher spot, and then I guess I should throw that position in there as well in terms of like what Howie could do to upgrade and via trade, because they have Huff and Sweat as your starters. Sweat's on a one-year deal. He might not be back here next year. We know Brandon Graham's probably is in his last year. Nolan Smith, not exactly proven yet, first rounder, but we haven't seen anything to suggest that he has potential as a starter. And Huff, he played well last year and got double-digit sacks, but the Eagles are kind of projecting him to be a certain caliber of player. So, and of course, they traded Haason Reddick away. Now, some of that had to do with the contract that he wanted, et cetera, and I think the Eagles are, again, projecting him to be on the decline. But, I just feel like they left themselves a little, almost like, I wouldn't say they've regressed at the position. We don't know yet, but on paper, I would say that is a fair claim to make. So I'm a little surprised at what they did at that position. Everything else, I would say no, not as much on the defensive side. I mean, I knew they weren't going to spend a lot of money at linebacker. Devin White is a name. Certainly did not perform well last year, but they didn't go out and break the bank at that position. Corner, again, I sound like I'm I'm a broken record here, but we're not done here. And look, I mean, even beyond the draft, we've seen Howie Roseman make moves. So that's not the be-end all. That C.J. Gardner-Johnson was acquired just before the season. Howie will tend to do stuff during training camp and leading up into the season and even into the season. So the draft isn't the end of this process as well.
Speaking of Jeff McLane on the Comcast Business Hotline, Jeff, would love to get your thoughts on the extension of Devonta Smith. And I'll ask this question for you because you're inside the locker room. You talk to people part of the Eagles organization. How highly do they value Devonta Smith? And is this a guy that we could almost, and I know this is looking down the road very far, but we could almost pencil in as a all-time Eagle wide receiver where he's there from start to finish?
Well, I mean, I'm sure he would like that, and Eagles would like that. He's only 3 years. He's 3 years in his career. It's funny. I was looking at his. I was just looking at his stats, and I realized that he was. He's 23 when he came in. The Eagles typically like to get the younger guys, the guys that come out early. He played all 4 years, as we know, and came back to win that Heisman Trophy and a national championship, and to his credit, did so. But the questions about, is he too skinny? Is he too late? Those have been answered. The guy can play at a high level in the NFL. Certainly with A.J. Brown opposite him, he's not going to maybe get the types of numbers if he was like the de facto number one guy. But, the Eagles, the way they structured that contract, I mean, it's beneficial to them. They picked up the fifth-year option. They still have him on the fourth year. So the cap numbers are not going to be extravagant these next 2 years and really even into the third year. So theoretically, I mean, that allows them to keep both those players through 2025. And I remember hearing people suggesting, A.J. Brown's going to be out, et cetera. I mean, the Eagles don't want to trade A.J. Brown. He's arguably the best player on the team, one of the top 5 receivers in the league. So this allows them to do that. But to answer your question, I mean, I think Devonta Smith is the type of guy that, and look, he's a pivotal kind of player for looking at the draft in terms of how Howie has kind of altered his philosophy just a little bit when it comes to the first round. I mean, this is a guy that did it, put up the numbers, did it for a high-quality program. And sometimes I felt like in the first round there was a little bit of projection, certainly with Jalen Reagor. I think and some of the other guys you saw, Andre Diller's another example. And I think, hey, look, let's not, outthink ourselves here in the first round. Let's just get a dog They did all the makeup stuff on Devonta. This kid does not mess around. He's got extremely good work ethic. He's one of the first guys in the building. Gets up there. He may be the first guy in the building, even before Jalen Hurts a lot of times. He cares. He's got the whole character. I think he's going to be a future. He's the guy I think that's going to be one of the future leaders on that offensive side. And I think you saw a little bit of that last year. So yeah, I mean, theoretically, I could see Devonta Smith, especially the way the contract is structured. I mean, it's not going to kill the Eagles here. And let's say that's that third year, then you could see another extension. Well, I guess the third, no, maybe after the fourth year, you could see an extension that would keep him here even longer into his 30s.
Jeff, you're the man. I appreciate it as always. Take care of yourself. We'll talk to you next week and feed the dog, all right?
Thanks, Jeff.
All right, guys. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good, man. There's Jeff McLane on the Comcast.
All right, see you guys.
See you, Jeff.
Barking dogs run faster.
Yeah, absolutely. That dog was yapping in the background, man.
Nicky Foles doesn't make noise like that.
No?
No.
Well, maybe that dog was hungry.
Maybe a hungry dog.
Hungry dogs run faster.
Come on, Jeff.
Right.
Feed your dog.
Coming up next, we'll continue to react to what Jeff had to say. I want to talk more about Devonta Smith because I feel like sometimes we don't realize how good we have it right now because of what we went through in the past.
He's
When
unbelievable.
it comes to wide receivers, dude, we went through a lot. You say we're spoiled brats? Don't worry. I also lived through the Pinkston and Mitchell era, too, okay? It is Kincade and Salciunas. We talk more about this Eagles offseason plan next right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
The Inside
Hey,
on Beat.
you on YouTube. What's
I thought he
up?
was talking to me. What are you yelling at the YouTube audience?
Well, because they're always talking crap about us, so I might as well yell back at them.
But you know what they are? They're very loyal. They're very, very loyal.
Yeah, they're all so sweet.
They are so sweet. And they all listen every single day and they watch on YouTube, which
Yes.
is a blessing to us.
And we love you, and we thank you for watching us every single morning. And
Most days we love them.
Yeah.
Some days we like you.
Yeah, but not all days they love us or even
no.
like us.
No, it depends.
So the feeling's mutual. But
Yes.
thanks for watching. We appreciate it.
Stay with us.
As good as Tyrese Maxey is, he can't carry an offense. Not from his position. Not when other teams can so easily stop either him, not easily stop him, but if you design to double team him, or if you design to take the ball out of his hands, other guys have to be there. And once again, last night, you just didn't have it. Tobias Harris was the only other double-digit scorer from the starters. Two guys, I think it was Council and somebody else, Wilson, off the bench. That got you double figures. So Nick Nurse went to the bench really early. You could see it was just kind of, I'm trying, but you guys just don't have it.
So we're all expecting Howie Roseman to make another move.
But there are players you have to extend, number one. You got to account for the draft and the practice squad. How far into the cap are they? I don't know the number off my head. How far into the cap are they?
I think it's high 20s or low 30s.
Yes.
Left.
Again, there are going to be guys that you're going to want to extend. Devonta Smith is going to have to get a deal to pay your draft class, pay the practice squad, keep money for moves. You know, we're going to be talking later this summer, the end of the summer, before the final cut down. You're going to want them to trade for somebody or do something at that point in time. Again, yeah, they have some money, probably not as much as you think right now. And am I expecting another big move? I think on the one hand they're always looking, but I think if you're looking for that high profile, there are no more of them available. Like that market's kind of shrunk up. Who do you want them to go add right now?
Well, I do not want them to add Justin Simmons. If I'm hearing that they didn't want to pay Haason Reddick, I sure as hell don't want to bring in another guy going in his early 30s and then pay him big money to come in.
Well, and based on what they've done, I don't think they would.
Okay, good. That makes me feel better then.
Yeah, I don't think they would, based on the logic with Haason Reddick. If Justin Simmons came in at a number, a price, would they do that? Maybe. Yeah. Like, I'm making this up. What if it's a 1-year deal worth, I don't know, some friendly number? Would you do that?
Oh, I absolutely would consider it. But the thing is, I wonder was a 1-year offer at a nice number considered to extend Haason Reddick? Every deal I'm going to look at and say, could that deal have been done to keep Haason Reddick here?
But Reddick wanted a new deal. He wanted a new deal last season.
Yes.
Right?
He did. You let the other guy wet his pants because Sam Ersson let in 2 terrible
And
goals.
you go wet his pants. We were literally just talking about how he should have not played. No, they were terrible.
No, they were terrible. That is wetting your pants. As a goaltender, he let in 2 goals that the average NHL goaltender does not let in. Those 2 goals were terrible.
They were horrible.
They were.
The guys were playing pretty much all season long out of necessity.
And I said that. There's a lot of it.
Okay, a big reason. They lost their goaltender.
I praised him all year long. But the bottom line is the coach knew the backup goalie was ready to play. And he didn't play him.
What is it on this Tuesday morning? 97.5 The Fanatic. We're going to continue the Eagles thing in a second. I have a tweet about my complaints about Haason Reddick.
Okay.
That I would like to react to. We'll talk about Devonta Smith and his extension, but I got to say, dude, it feels good to be able to save the day from work. Christy's home with Cooper today.
Okay.
And we were having a meltdown. He has a little toy car. I'm guessing Liv was too old for Cars.
Yeah, she didn't play with Cars.
No, but Cars the movie, the Pixar movie.
No, we love that.
The Lightning McQueen.
Oh, Lightning McQueen and all that?
Dude.
Yeah.
Ka-chow. Big Lightning McQueen fan. We have multiple Lightning McQueen cars, but he has a favorite, and they couldn't find it. And apparently it was very emotional in the house.
Okay, where is it?
It was by the back door. I knew exactly where it was. But I don't look at my phone during the show. I like to pay attention.
Right, exactly, right.
I like to, pay respect and pay attention to the people that I work with.
Which I really appreciate.
So I looked at my phone during the commercial break, and she texted me, like, he's losing his mind. Do you have any idea? So I called right away. Oh, it's by the back door. And the second she found it, he was good.
It's right there.
Right there. And it was right, like, the kitchen's right near our back door.
A snake. If it was a snake, it would have bit you.
Yes.
That is
But I saved the day. From home, or from work. I'm glad I could, still be number one dad out here. All right. I have a tweet from Gregory Bossert that I want to read to you.
What's up, Gregory?
So, Gregory,
very formal.
This was in response to, the defense. If you have Haason Reddick, you're probably still a Super Bowl team. I don't know without Haason Reddick. I don't know if you are a Super Bowl team, but I'm still willing to see how the offseason plays out. Now, he puts, and not even asks a question, he makes a statement. But I want to ask a question about this.
All right.
Gregory says it was always going to take 2 years to get the defense up to par. They're not done yet anyway. Relax. So I understand the middle sentence of they're not done yet. But the first sentence of it was always going to take 2 years to get the defense up to par. I want to ask the audience. Text line, phone line, same number, 610-632-0975. Social media.
What are you asking?
John Kincade, Conor Thomas. Are we willing to wait 2 years?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes. Because the Kansas City Chiefs won a Super Bowl in 2023 with a defense that was it wasn't good.
Now they
won with a great offense and their defense being subpar.
Well, they won with a great quarterback and great tight end.
Okay,
nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying Marquez Valdez-Scantling's a great wide receiver.
But their defense was subpar, and their offense was second in the league, I believe.
Right, but I'm saying it was Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce.
No, I understand, but their offense was second. I believe it was second in points scored.
But what I'm trying to say is this offense has Hurts, Saquon, AJ, Devontae, Dallas Goedert.
Okay, if we're second in points scored, I'm going to be excited. I believe the Chiefs in 23 were the second best point scoring offense in the NFL. Their defense lagged. They won a Super Bowl. Last year, it flipped.
Yeah.
They won a Super Bowl again. Their defense played to an elite level, and their offense was more in the middle of the league. So I absolutely am patient and willing to wait.
But that also means they hit on the defense players that they drafted. They hit on guys like Legarius
But I'm not
Sneed.
expecting that, like I said to you with Nolan Smith, I'm not expecting Nolan Smith to come in and give me
and make a jump. Yeah.
Give me 28-year-old Haason Reddick's performance.
Right.
But I am expecting. I thought your number. You said 8. I said 7.
Yeah.
So if we just set that number at 7.5,
that'd be great.
I think that. No, but I think it's very fair.
Okay.
To say if you're going to get the
pick,
snaps, come on in, step in, make an impact, get 7 sacks, get 8 sacks.
Connor, are you willing to wait 2 years to build up a defense with this offense? Which, oh, by the way, Saquon Barkley 3-year deal, and it would be going his final year of his deal. A.J. Brown, there's an out after 2025. I doubt that they move on. They're not going to move on from A.J. Brown. No. We already said we don't expect Dallas Goedert to maybe be here. I don't
think you will.
So are you willing to wait 2 years knowing what you have offensively?
Yeah, there aren't other better options. You're kind of locked into waiting 2 years because the guys that have to be big for this defense are guys you don't know enough about.
Well, I'm saying if you kept Haason Reddick, the conversation's this year.
Well, I understand.
Not 2 years.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, you're still – let's say Haason Reddick is on this team. You have to see if Chauncey Gardner-Johnson can stay healthy. You have to see if Jalen Carter continues to improve, if Jordan Davis can play like a real interior defensive lineman, if Nolan Smith's anything, if Nakobe Dean's healthy, if James Bradbury is completely washed, if Darius Slay is also washed, if Avonte Maddox can stay healthy, and you can't move on from those guys until you know. Like some of the older guys, Slay, Bradbury, we know, but a lot of this team is young guys you got to learn about. And that's going to take time, so you're locked into waiting.
But can we, I'm talking about Eagles fans, who every year it's the Super Bowl, every year, especially right now because the team's actually good.
I got you.
It's legitimate Super Bowl conversation. I don't know if we're a patient fan base.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
We're saying
but if anybody
we're saying we have to wait 2 years.
But do you consider this an intelligent fan base?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's the intelligent approach.
Well, if you consider it an intelligent fan base, then they have to go into the season understanding that this defense is still is going to be a couple of years away.
But I know how this will go. So Gregory, who tweets that in, is saying this on April 16th. If it's November and the Eagles have lost a couple of games 35-30 just because the defense can't get any stops, are people going to go, oh, man, this could have been the year that they won the Super Bowl because the offense is so good but the defense is so bad? And let's say they lose the NFC Championship game because the defense just couldn't get a stop. Are we going to be okay with it?
Well, I'm going to tell you that if this team ends up...
We're going to rip Howie because he didn't do this, he didn't do that, he didn't do the third.
No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you that the reason this team's in that position is most likely going to be because of the fact that they re-up to 30-plus-year-old corners.
Okay.
That it went back to, after the Super Bowl, Howie's Achilles heel, his kryptonite, giving lifetime achievement contracts to guys that, because they were here for a moment.
Right.
They were here for a big moment. You got to have them back. I would have let Bradbury walk. I said it after
from the beginning. Yep.
I would have let him walk, and I would have had Slay back. And Slay, by the way, I don't think had in any way a bad year.
I just want people to be honest with me, with John, with Conor, and I agree. I believe that you guys actually feel this way.
Yes.
But for somebody on April 16th to tell me, oh, it's a 2-year plan. All right, are you actually that patient? It's easy to say at April 16th.
He's just telling you that it's a 2-year plan. He's not telling you he's going to be patient.
He's telling me to relax.
I would tell you to relax also.
All right.
I really would.
Do people truly feel patient enough to see this defense build over 2 years? Or are you going to start complaining about the moves that Howie made or didn't make if it starts showing that the defense is lacking in talent?
Lacklusting?
Yeah, I'm sorry. You can climb in at 610-632-0975. Nobody said that I was smart. All right? C's get degrees, baby. All right, your chance to win $1,000 comes your way next. Today's headlines with Conor and Thomas and a whole lot more. Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Bills saved by Pache. I'm Conor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by BQ Basements.
My center fielder.
Now Groundworks. If your basement or crawl space smells musty or has watermarks on the block,
45911, or you can enter it on the Fanatic app or 975thefanatic.com. That's invest, INVEST, to 45911. The Fanatic app or 975thefanatic.com. One winner selected at random won $1,000 in this company-wide contest. Winners will get a call from Beasley, so be sure to answer your phone. Complete rules at 975thefanatic.com. 975 The Fanatic signing bonus is presented by Rand Spear, the accident lawyer. Demand Rand for justice. Please never text and drive. Good luck.
This is Kincade and Salciunas, Philadelphia Sports Talk. 97.5 The Fanatic.
It is 8:01 on Kincade and Salciunas. Today's headlines with Conor Thomas coming your way at 8:05.
Better be good, Conor.
It's always good.
It is good. It is. It just better be.
I will say this. So this is show 22 of Kincade and Salciunas.
That is correct.
I have disappointed with today's headlines with Conor Thomas.
What about one with Brendan Gunn?
No, I was happy with B. Gunn. B. Gunn did it Friday when you were out.
Okay,
so Conor slid in here, and B. Gunn did the headlines, and I thought he did a great job as well. Good. I think there's only been one day where we didn't do it.
Yes.
So out of the 21 today's headlines, I've been happy with all 21 of today's headlines.
I think it sounds good.
Don't jinx me now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No pressure.
We count on you.
I'm going to be extremely critical of this one. So we got that coming up in a couple of minutes. We'll reset the entire show afterward. But this conversation, and I would love to get some text on this at 610-632-0975, and also some phone calls and social media about the 2-year plan defensively and whether or not we are actually being honest with ourselves that we are okay with it. I am okay with it. I'm just still upset that Haason Reddick not being here means I think the window to win this year is not as open. Now, Gregory follows up.
Okay.
Because
Gregory's very formal.
I asked him, I said, with this offense, are you willing to wait 2 years? And he replied by saying, LOL, you have to. They'll still contend, but to cap it off, it's almost likely 2025 when they win. They have time. And then somebody replied to Gregory. It was, I won't read the Twitter account. He almost got me.
All right.
He said, simple. They pay the offensive weapons as they should have. They have a couple high-end paid guys on defense. They drafted high-end blue-chip talent on defense. When those contracts are due, it's the itchy part. And he talked about if you pay the high-end offensive talent, drafting the defensive line, he says it's the smart move.
I just hear all the time about that we have a very intelligent fan base here.
Yes.
And I think the discourse on football, I do believe it. It reinforces it to me.
Well, he says it's the smart move. It is the smart move.
It is.
But sometimes, as a fan, I don't want to be smart.
I'm going to tell you this. I believe in it, and this is going to be bold. I think we talk about Haason Reddick in this town like he's not spoken about in 24 of the 25 of the 32 markets. I think we love Haason. We love what he did. We love his one trick that he did. That was great. And it was one trick.
It was
because he doesn't do anything else. He doesn't do anything else.
But Huff doesn't do anything else.
Okay, I understand.
So you replace Haason Reddick with the guy you hope can be Haason Reddick.
But I think people talk about Haason Reddick like he was a complete defensive end weapon.
Right, and he's not.
But
what he did was very good
what he did was exceptional.
Yeah.
Really, really good for us. And I wanted him back. But I think the more these conversations go on, I think we value Haason Reddick. The rest of the league had a chance to go get him.
Yep, you're right. You're not wrong.
And they all knew he was on the market.
But I will say that the New York Jets, a team that, look, if Rodgers doesn't blow out his leg last year, they're having Super Bowl talk in New York. They're probably going all in this year.
They will be having Super Bowl talk.
They thought Haason Reddick was a good piece to have.
For a one-shot type of deal. And
why couldn't the Eagles have done the one shot?
I'm fascinated. Like when the Eagles traded for A.J. Brown, we knew the contract terms that night.
Right. We don't know them for Reddick yet. We
don't even know if there's going to be one.
Right. And
it's just interesting.
But that would be even more upsetting if he doesn't end up getting a new contract and he could have been paid here.
Well, he said at his opening press conference he's okay either way.
Yep. All right, so we'll see how that plays out. We'll continue these Eagles conversation, get more into the Phillies later on, but it's time now for today's headlines with Conor Thomas.
Today's headlines with Conor Thomas.
What do we got, Conor?
We got some good stuff today.
No pressure, by the way, because I set this up as like the greatest segment ever.
It is. I don't know why you wouldn't. But I got a take on this one that I don't know if everyone's going to agree with. So,
as a first,
Jordan Mailata got paid this offseason. He got that extension and everything feels good as far as Mailata's time here in Philadelphia, but he went out to a bar recently. Of course, he jumped on the microphone. He did another one of his singing performances. I'll let you hear it first before you hear the take.
All right,
he's so good, but I need bro to chill. Like, he got married. He is not out on the market anymore. He's got the ring on his finger. And all he does every time he does this is he raises the bar for the single men of Philadelphia. And I need you to lower the bar,
so you're
Jordan.
being selfish.
Yes. No, he's being selfish. He's married and he's out there serenading people. Like, bro, calm down. I don't have that in my bag.
Yeah, it's not. It is a fine thing to have in your repertoire. A guy who can play an instrument or can sing.
Dude, I mean, he was blessed.
Yes.
Like, we're all God's children. I think God does have a favorite child. He goes, Jordan Mailata is 6'7".
Right.
Rich offensive lineman, can sing. I think he picked favorites with Jordan Mailata. He got it all.
And Liv bumped into him at the farmer's market in Rittenhouse Square.
Is that right?
He goes to farmers markets?
Yeah, dude.
He was shopping at the farmer's
market.
market.
He's every girl's dream, Connor.
Two Saturdays ago, here is a 6'7" guy walking around with his lovely wife.
Yeah.
And they were just at the Rittenhouse Square market. And there's, and Liv, and her friends, big fans of Jordan Mailata, which is, the 20-year-old girls. They love Jordan. So
everybody loves Jordan.
Now,
I need him to chill.
I had a take. I'm surprised I didn't get crushed for it because I think a lot of people agreed but just don't want to say it. I love Jordan Mailata. I love the Christmas album.
Yeah.
People were ripping the Christmas album because they were struggling. They didn't realize that it was recorded in,
they
June.
recorded the last weekend in June and the first weekend.
Yeah, no, they didn't do it during the season.
Right, exactly.
I'll be honest. I was anti-Mailata singing the daughter-father first dance at the wedding.
I don't like it either.
I thought it took away the spotlight.
I didn't like it either. It took away the father and the daughter. Yes.
And look, they may have requested it.
Unless they said you sing it.
Right. And if they did, that's cool.
But it still did take away.
I thought it took away. And I said it on the air. I remember I said it during middays. And I was surprised I didn't get ripped for it.
No, I think
I think everybody agrees, but nobody wants to say it because we love Jordan Mailata.
We don't know if she said, honey, I need you to sing this song for me for my father-daughter day.
Right. Andrew hates love. That's okay.
And I don't even want to. And thank God you have Coop because I don't even want to think about that moment.
Yeah.
I do not even want to contemplate it.
Well, it'll come eventually. But anyway, we're going to get into this next thing. It's very interesting here. I think the Phillies could take some notes from the Oakland Athletics because the A's found a very interesting way to help themselves.
Dude, I saw this.
In a ball game, gain an advantage. Listen to what happened last night between the A's and the Cardinals.
Gets it over to Darryl, who applies the tag. Feel like it's a done deal. But unfortunately, Cardinals not too happy about it. They were looking to challenge, but security may have ran a little interference. Ollie Marmol not too happy about it, and he went out to discuss, but to no avail.
So you only have, 20 seconds to call to say if you want to challenge or not?
That is correct.
Right. So Marmol, the manager of the Cardinals, he's doing the hand up, right? We're checking on the guys on the phone. And then the security guard, because I guess the security guard thought that they were going to challenge, so he's walking out onto the field. He got in Marmol's way. And when Marmol went to tell them, hey, we want to review it, they ran out of time. So the security guy that works for the Athletics building actually got in the way. They couldn't challenge it. Now, Marmol, total creep. Did you see?
Oh, he's a creep.
Yeah.
Did you see how he grabbed him by the shirt, shoved him?
Wow.
No, he's a creep.
No, Ollie Marmol, I don't like him at all.
You cannot like him. There's a security guard in between you and the replay guy trying to figure it out.
You don't put a hand on
another person like that.
Meanwhile, the guy, look, I don't want to be an ageist. I'm going to guess was in his 60s, if not older.
Let's just call him generally Bob Cooney's age.
And
Marmol.
Better watch yourself, man.
You better watch. I am older than Bob.
You should have heard him. You should have heard him on Friday.
Was he doing that?
We did the crossover.
Right.
And Conor basically just called him old. during the crossover.
That's ridiculous. Don't let Bob Cooney will knock you into the middle of next week.
Here's what's wrong with Conor for doing it. 2 reasons. 1, you don't call the man old. Number 2, he said it because Bob was on remote. So Bob wasn't in the same room. That's weak, dude.
Yeah,
that's
different.
weak.
Come on. I love Bobby. You know I love Bobby.
But crazy moment yesterday,
That's
for sure.
Don't touch the
But don't put your hands on the
Marmol
man.
is a...
I hope that guy, I hope Marmol, because the security guard was very apologetic.
Okay,
Like, he was like, he literally said to the umpires, my bad. Like, he was trying to let him know what happened. Marmol's he's a jackwagon. He's a douchebag.
He didn't Pedro Martinez the guy, all right?
No, he's still a jackwagon.
He's a douchebag.
The point is,
he's a 37-year-old manager that thinks he's better than what he is. That team's going to crumble under him.
Philly should employ that strategy in the future, though.
Yeah, put somebody in there.
Yeah, how'd that wild card round go 2 years ago, Marmol?
All right.
That's right. The
I
Phillies
didn't realize
peed
you
all
hated
over
Marmol.
you.
We'll move on.
We both don't like him, which is
good.
I'm not happy with you two. Here's something from earlier in the show.
Today, who do you want the Eagles to draft in the first round? Or who do you think the Eagles will draft in the first round? Because I'm with you, John. It's so unsexy. But the Eagles are going to probably draft an offensive lineman. What don't you like
You guys
about it?
asked each other? You guys asked the whole of the Delaware Valley on the phone and the text line. Yes, Jeff McLane.
Oh, but we didn't ask Conor.
You never asked me. What does Conor want to do in the first round?
Well,
I guess we don't care.
Today's headlines with Conor Thomas, it's always the way to reset the show, and you always give us your opinion.
That's
so,
true.
Conor, what would you like the Eagles to do in the first round?
I'm not
Tell
really
us.
sure.
Oh, wait a minute. You better have an answer. After that little tantrum, you better have an answer.
Tell you who I want. I want my guy Kool-Aid McKinstry. I want him so bad.
Oh, wow. He's held.
Dude, like, I am absolutely
22, though?
Zoned in on Kool-Aid McKinstry. Yes.
You think he's on the board?
No.
I don't either.
But that's who I want. And until I see him come off the board, like, you can believe a guy can fall. There's interesting talent that kind of shifts around in the draft every year. There's always a dude that shouldn't have fallen that does. You might move up, but that's the guy that I've been, like, I want him on the Eagles.
You have been for a while.
For months.
Kool-Aid McKinstry, I think, just based off of my ridiculously stupid memory that I have, is the first player that's a cool name. It falls under the same umbrella. Cool name, relative of former Eagle, or a player that played a certain position at a college that we also liked, like Kayvon Wallace, safety out of Clemson.
Right.
He's the first player that I'm cool with. Usually people value players because of their name, their relative, like Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Like a lot of people think he should be drafted
seriously.
in the first
like
round.
People have not even seen him play.
Look, he's a good player.
Second round. But got to get Trotter Jr. in the
he's
second
not a
round.
second-round pick.
No, he's not.
And then the Kayvon Wallace thing. Like, people thought Kayvon Wallace was going to step in here and be a great player because he was a safety out of Clemson, because Brian Dawkins was a safety out of Clemson. Kool-Aid McKinstry, I think, is the first guy that under that umbrella that is actually a good player.
So you're excited about that. Kool-Aid.
Yeah. I just, like you, I don't think he, like John, I don't think he falls to 22.
No, but a guy can dream.
Your favorite Kool-Aid color?
Red, bro.
Color
Come
or,
on.
like, are we talking about the color or
Red.
the flavor?
Well, I mean, it's like it's
red. What is the
color.
Kool-Aid man?
Red.
Oh, yeah. That's red.
Blue's good. I like the blue one, too, but
Yeah, but the Kool-Aid man's not blue.
no, he's not. The red is the best.
Red is
Red is the absolute best. Now, I like the barrels. Well, I forget what those are called.
Oh,
the
my
juice
goodness.
barrels.
You're such a child.
You
know
mean
what I'm
those like wax ones?
No, they literally look like barrels.
Yeah, you peel the little foil
Yeah,
off.
off the
I
top.
remember
Yeah,
those. I remember those.
Dude, again, as the chubby child, I went through all of them, man. All right. So here's what we've been talking about today. Have you been cool with the Eagles offseason so far, which has been offense? And again, I keep on saying so far because I am upset about the Haason Reddick being traded. And I think this defense, as of this moment, holds you back from being a Super Bowl team this year when your offense is a Super Bowl team this year. But it's not done yet. But are you cool with the offseason so far, which has been offense? You can climb in on the text line or the phone line, 610-632-0975.
Let me just clarify what you're saying again.
Yes.
Are you telling me that if Haason Reddick was on this roster right now,
Super Bowl team.
and with Haason Reddick off, you say not Super Bowl?
I think right now the defense has more holes because of Haason Reddick. I'm not a Josh Sweat fan.
I got you. And I agree with you. The defense has more holes on it, and him not being here is a major hole. But I can't believe that anyone would look at the Eagles roster and go, wow, if they had Haason Reddick, I'm penciling him into the Super Bowl. If they don't have Haason Reddick, nah, They're not going.
I think they
can't
could be a
believe
game
that.
shy. I think Haason Reddick is a game wrecker, which we have seen. Now, you can say we saw that 2 years ago.
We did.
And
We did not see it last year.
But I am under the impression that Jalen Carter is another year better, that Jordan Davis is another year better, that Vic Fangio does not run Haason Reddick and Josh Sweat into the ground like Sean Desai and Matt Patricia did last year. I don't think Reddick's dropping back into coverage as much.
You do know, though, and I'm just saying, that Reddick
played a similar amount of snaps.
Yes, the year before.
But
like everybody, I keep saying,
he was another year older.
He ran Reddick into the ground. He played one more snap. It averaged out one more snap a game.
And he was another year older. So if you can get
another reason that you don't upgrade,
but if you can get smarter with how you use him, he did still finish with double. Think about it. He had double-digit sacks, and we're complaining about the year.
But if he's your number one guy, and you're saying they played him too much by playing him one snap a game more last year, why are you re-upping with him? Because you need your number one guy to pay 800 snaps.
I wasn't even re-upping him for like 4 years. If he's willing to play under this contract with the Jets, why couldn't you get that?
He wasn't willing
here. Okay,
he wasn't willing
but he's
here.
willing in New York.
Exactly,
which is the weirdest thing to me.
It is the weirdest thing to me. Why I blame him as much as I blame the Eagles.
I also thought, look, when Sweat took the pay cut, I think we all had the same.
I thought he was staying.
He was staying.
Yep.
So imagine, and this was after they got Huff.
Yes.
Imagine a rotation of Reddick and Huff and Sweat and Graham and Nolan Smith, who Howie has made it public that they want to play more this year. Whoever they also still acquire via free agency. It goes back to 2017 where a guy like Chris Long was an impactful player. I did that list of the impactful free agent signings. He was impactful, but he barely had to play because he was just a rotational piece. Haason Reddick would be more than a rotational piece, but I think with him not having to play as many snaps, I think he'd still be a factor defensively. I think losing Haason Reddick, and now your edge rushers are Bryce Huff and Josh Sweat, and the hopes that Nolan Smith takes a step forward, it scares me.
No, it scares me too.
Where,
it really
with
does.
Reddick, I'm not as scared.
But I would tell anybody that says to me, Eagles are a Super Bowl team if they have Reddick. Eagles are not a Super Bowl team without Reddick. I got to tell you, I think Reddick is being way overvalued.
All right, and then we'll see. And if he plays, well, we already went on the record.
Right.
We'll see how he plays in New York.
Absolutely.
I think he's a factor in New York. You don't think when that we'll be talking about him?
I do not think that we will be saying, I'm looking at Howie's history and the Eagles' history. I do not think we're going to be saying, damn, wish we had signed him to a long-term extension to have him for, which would have been like 3 more years.
I would have done 2 more years off of.
I don't think
it would have been 3 total.
I don't think he's taking it.
Okay.
He didn't want, reportedly not interested in it.
He wasn't getting anywhere else.
Well, he wasn't. And what does that tell you?
So
what does that tell you?
Let me ask you this question about that. Are we not talking about Haason Reddick because we see him regress in New York, or is it because you saw somebody get better here? Like, does Huff make us forget about Haason Reddick?
My guess is that between Huff and Nolan Smith,
we forget about
we will see. No, not forget about him, but we will see that they are competent players to step in. And as long as no one's expecting Nolan Smith to come in and put in the numbers that Haason Reddick put up when he was 28, after years of experience, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
I really am. I just think that the more this goes on, the more I hear Haason being the major talking point. I just think anybody who says he's your reason why I think this team can go to a Super Bowl, I think this team can't, is Haason Reddick. I think it's being overstated.
Okay, well, I would love to hear from you on the text line, phone line, 610-632-0975. I know we have a couple of texts coming in about the draft. The draft this Thursday will be 1 week from the draft.
That's amazing to me, by the way.
Who do you want, and who do you think the Eagles will draft? You can get on the record today, and it could change, right? You could change your mind 2 days from now. You could change your mind on draft day. But right now, on April 16th, who do you think the Eagles will, or who do you want the Eagles to draft in the first round? We're going first round of the NFL draft. We'll continue that conversation coming your way next. Also, there was a certain attitude I saw on social media yesterday toward the Sixers that I want to run by you guys. And it's going to lead into another conversation about narratives that you agree or disagree with. Like, you disagree with the narrative that Haason Reddick, that the Eagles need Haason Reddick.
Yeah,
I want to find out what other narratives you agree or disagree with. But I'm going to base this off of something I saw about the Sixers on social media yesterday that really confused me. But, John, you might be able to talk me down because I think you speak Sixers fan better than I do. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Devonta gets.
Salciunas, speaking of Avelo Airlines, I want to remind you, you can still nominate somebody that you think deserves a round-trip flight for two to anywhere Avelo Airlines flies. Go to the contest page, 975thefanatic.com to nominate somebody. Could be a teacher, firefighter, police officer, somebody in need. We had a couple people that were cancer survivors, recent cancer survivors.
I would have been very moved to their stories.
Yeah, and the stories were emotional. We read some of them on air. It was great telling the people that they won and hearing them get emotional because you especially know the toll, not just in life, but financial toll. We had somebody who usually goes to the Jersey Shore Memorial Day weekend. She couldn't go this year because of the financial burden, of health costs.
Absolutely, it's crazy.
And fortunately, that somebody was cool enough to nominate her, and she's now got 2 round-trip airline tickets, which is great. It's all sponsored by Velo Airlines at Wilmington Airport. Delaware's favorite airport is close to home and has convenient parking, shorter lines, and an easy, relaxed atmosphere. To fly Velo out of the Wilmington Airport, visit veloair.com. We're giving away 4 more winners this Friday, and then 4 more winners on the 26th.
And we look forward to everybody getting involved with it and getting more comfortable with the Velo. I know that a friend of Ms. Rhonda's is going to go to Puerto Rico on a Velo.
Oh, that's awesome.
So they're going to take the trip on to go down there. It's great. And my wife is going to take it down to her high school reunion.
That's great. Oh, that's awesome. All right.
Good. So, now, Fort Lauderdale Airport.
Yep.
Easy to go. So this is great stuff.
Veloair.com. Check it out. All right. So we'll continue the Eagles conversation. But I gotta bring something up that confused me. Now, you, John, Mr. Logic.
Yes.
And Mr. You and I see things differently when it comes to the Sixers.
Absolutely.
Right? And I don't know if there's one right or one wrong. I'm
usually right, but
right.
I got it. Yeah.
But
right.
it's cut the part that John just said he's right. I'm the right one. So yesterday, I was complaining about the Sixers seeding. I ripped the NBA rule, to which you agree with.
I hate it.
It's a weird 3-way tie procedure where the team that won their respective division, if there was one, gets the higher seed.
I want to ask you this, though, is that I want to hear your proposal of how you break it up when there's 3 teams tied.
Right.
And each team holds the advantage over another. Why should the Sixers' advantage over Orlando mean more than Orlando's over that? So that's important to bring.
And I don't know how you do. I should look at the next one.
There had to be something.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, rock, paper.
Thank you, Nick Sirianni, for checking in.
But there is another one because you don't – we talked about this yesterday. If you win your division, it doesn't mean that you get a top 4 seed. You just get wherever you are. So there is another tie-breaking procedure. But the Sixers are the 7th seed. The Magic, who the Sixers had the head-to-head record against and similar records at the end of the season, the Magic are the 5th seed because they won their division. The Pacers had the head-to-head against the Sixers, which makes them the 6th seed, and the Sixers are the 7th seed because of this, right?
All right.
And I was upset because the Sixers go on an 8-game winning streak just to climb up from 8 to 7 and still potentially play Boston. If, God forbid, they lose tomorrow night against the Miami Heat, it's still a chance that they could play Boston in the first round, which we do not want. Some people want it for crazy reasons. We do not want it. So, Brendan Gunn, our associate producer, put out the video of me complaining about it, put out the quote of me complaining about it, and I started getting a lot of replies. And I was fascinated to see how many people were like, Andrew, stop crying. The Sixers did this to themselves. As if like it was the Sixers' fault that when Joel Embiid was hurt for 2 months, their best player, the MVP, they weren't playing as well.
How about the games that it would have taken one game, right? One game. Just like we're sitting here with the Flyers today.
One game.
If the Flyers had won one game today, we would just be talking about win and you're in. That's what I'm saying is, so what about the games that Joel Embiid was completely wait. What about the games where Joel Embiid was completely healthy and they said, we're just sitting him down?
Which of those were there more of?
No, I'm just saying is what could have done.
Yeah, but then if he played him, maybe he wouldn't have been as effective in that game or the next game.
I think that is a stretch that I'll let you go. I will not buy it.
Bottom line is they went what? They were 31-13 before he got hurt, and then he played in 6 of the 8 games. So
was it that good? 31-13?
I forget
They
the
were
number off the
really
top of my
good.
head. They
It
were
was
really
really good.
And then
Yeah.
add 6 more wins and 0 losses with Embiid on the court since he came back. Like, the record is...
I think the Sixers would have been the 2 seed if Embiid never gets hurt.
The attitude that I was reading... And, look, this is just me reading social media posts.
Which is dangerous.
I talk about this with Christy all the time. Christy will get angry or get upset with what she believes is my tone via a text message because I might not add a smiley face or an exclamation point. I might just be busy and I don't have the time.
The Sixers were 29-17 when Embiid got hurt.
So now add 6 more wins.
That'd be 35 and 17.
35 and 17. That's a pretty freaking good record.
Math guy.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
but you know what though? Just go 1-5 in those games. Just go one. I mean, like, win one more that you didn't. And sometimes they won without him.
Right. And they did win sometimes without him. But if you're reading the responses, and boy, are there a lot of them.
Okay.
I didn't realize how much people were against my sentiment yesterday. There were a lot of people basically blaming the Sixers. Here's one tweet from Nikki G. I just caught my eye. Come on, man. They screwed themselves. So many games without Embiid that they could have won, but choked at the end. Nurse's rotations were terrible in some games. RC4 would go, Ricky Council would go off and then not play for 2 games. All this love for Doughton, keeping Toby in when he was terrible. Well, you weren't going to, bench Tobias Harris.
No, you can't bench him, but I completely understand. One thing I know about you, and you're a kind guy.
No,
you are. You're a kind guy.
No.
But you give the benefit of the doubt bucket that you have for the Sixers.
I do give a lot.
It's just huge.
It is.
And I think it's bigger benefit of the doubt bucket than you have for any other franchise in town. You find a way to find the silver lining. You become Conor Thomas, golden retriever.
And I wonder if
about your Sixers.
I wonder if it's because that was the first team that I really remember. 01, I'm 7 years old.
And it might be. They have the biggest impression on you.
Right, that was, they grabbed me, man.
It could be because you were a process cosplayer. You were one of the cosplayers.
I didn't dress up.
You hung out with the cosplayers.
You went to the game naked?
Yes. No, he was with the cosplayers.
I was a revolutionary. But then here's a tweet
Those guys must have been getting all the chicks, by
from JPT602. They went 16 and 27 without Embiid. That's the reason they're in the game. Stop crying. But are you surprised they went 16 and 20? I'm not surprised.
I'm not. I think they did better than I thought they'd do.
But it's the attitude, and maybe I shouldn't be reading too much into tweets and not hearing them say it themselves. Because again,
why? Because of the way you read tweets is different.
The way I'm reading these responses, it's as if the Sixers did. Oh, the Sixers did this to themselves. Well, it's not their fault that Embiid was out for 2 months. Any team, if Giannis is out for 2 months,
right,
the Bucks are taking a hit. If Jalen Brunson is out for 2 months, the Knicks are taking a hit. If Jason Tatum misses 2 months, as great as Jaylen Brown is, they're probably still the 1 seed, but they're taking a hit. If LeBron is out for 2 months, any team that loses their best player in the NBA because it is so star-driven for 2 months. If Jokic is out for 2 months, the Nuggets are a play-in team. That's how good he is.
I get you. If Embiid played that Denver Saturday afternoon, the 5 o'clock game that you and I were both pissed, we were so excited for that game.
Right.
In Denver. If he played that game.
Maybe they win that game.
And it was tied with 50, 50 seconds to go?
Yep.
They win that game.
You're right, but he gets hurt the next game.
He gets hurt. He gets hurt 3 games later.
Well, he gets hurt soon after that.
3 games later.
Lends credence to the fact that he didn't play.
No, it does not.
Yes, it does.
It does not.
Why would he not play, John?
No, it does not, because you're telling me he plays in the Denver game. That makes it more likely he's going to get hurt in another game? That's ridiculous. There's no science to that.
John, it's not about science, dude. He gets hurt every year. They're resting him to try and avoid time to get hurt.
Your logic has no science to it.
I don't know how you could say that has no science to it.
If Joel Embiid played in a game, in a random game, they gave him a night off, and they win it, you're telling me it makes it more likely he is going to get hurt down the line.
He's on the court more, as a chance he could get hurt.
But John, if he played that Nuggets game, then he's not playing the next game. And then they might lose the next game that he did play it, right?
No, they lost the next game. So they already lost the next game.
You know how it is. He's not going to play X amount of games.
They lost by 30 at Portland.
Don't look at the result. Look at the thought process.
You know X amount of games
like the thought process.
Joel Embiid is not going to play in, right? We know that. Whether you like it or not, you know that X amount of games Joel Embiid is not going to play in. The 2 months that they missed Joel Embiid, which is unfortunate because he got hurt, I did not expect more things, but there were people that were basically ripping the Sixers for being the 7th seed and not this weird tiebreaker scenario.
When he was out, We agree completely. But when he's in, you say to people, just accept it. These are the games he's going to be out.
You kind of have
That
to.
is what people don't want to accept.
You
because
have to. You're going to drive yourself insane if you
Conor,
don't.
you don't have to. You can voice your displeasure on it every time someone tries to trot out the fake science of load management, which there is no evidence of it, and the NBA has done numerous studies, and there's even been independent studies. Load management has nothing to back it up.
You're fighting the tides.
No.
It's not worth the fight.
Every tide that people fight, there's a reason you fight it. Because, no, I'm not just going to accept where there is no basis for load management being something that helps you.
Well,
I am not going to just say, well, you just have to accept it.
Do you think 39-year-old LeBron James doesn't mind load management?
I think
he's still playing at extremely high level.
I think 39-year-old LeBron James, I am absolutely working around load management for 39.
What about injury-prone Joel Embiid?
I am not saying because.
What about injury-prone Kawhi Leonard, who has won 2 NBA titles now?
And I am not in any way going to say, because there's no science to it. The NBA's already studied it, and every NBA owner and team has looked at it, and they still practice it, and they've been shown it doesn't have science.
Well, we might need to find out another 5 years from now, because science takes time.
Well, it's been going on for 10 years or more.
All right. So I want to ask this question. I'm against that. The Sixers did this to themselves.
I am too.
What narratives right now, and we don't have to go 20 years, so I'm saying in present-day Philadelphia sports, what narratives are you in agreement with or that you disagree with? And it could be vocal minority or it could be majority, right? This might be a vocal minority that I'm reacting to, but I'm against that narrative. Are there any other narratives that you are in favor of or against? I want you to answer those questions for me next. Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
The real and inside story on the Phillies is on the best show ever. Jason Stark.
97.5 The Fanatic. By the way, so I'm all fired up. I got 88 on today, Lindros.
See, it's fun seeing Eric at the stadium.
Yes.
It's fun. I've run into a couple times this year. It's fun seeing him around.
And you got I love it. The Flyers
This was Father's Day.
Hawaiian shirt, flamingos on there.
This
with
was
the Flyers
Father's
logo.
Day last year. This was from Liv.
I love it.
She wanted to get Dad. I have a Hawaiian shirt type of thing for every team.
And Connor's got the Phillies one that he wore that smelled.
I do not have the. Yeah, that
It saved the season. Have some respect.
It did.
Yeah,
You know.
sure. So we're all fired up. And coming up at 9:30, Scott Hartnell's going to join the show. The Flyers must win tonight to keep their playoff chances alive in regulation.
It's simple. Yes.
In regulation, what? Flyers win. Detroit can't win.
Detroit loses in regulation. Flyers win in regulation. And then there's only three things have to happen.
Right. And then
That's
Penguins
it.
lose.
Tomorrow night, the Penguins would have to lose to the Islanders.
In regulation as well?
In regulation at New York.
And the Red Wings have to lose
No.
tonight?
Red Wings have to lose. Yeah, we said that.
Right.
Flyers,
Okay, gotcha.
Flyers win in regulation tonight. Red Wings lose in regulation. Then you are somehow alive to tomorrow night, where while you're watching the Sixers and the Heat, we will have a TV on with the Penguins, and you will be hoping that the Penguins lose to the Islanders.
Well, speaking of the Flyers and speaking of Scotty Hartnell, coming up around 9:30, after we're done talking to Scott, we have a pair of tickets to tonight's Flyers game.
Oh, that's awesome.
Not only is it the last game of the season.
We have two pairs.
We have two pairs?
Two pairs.
Dude.
Two pairs of tickets to tonight's game.
Not only is it a huge freaking game, it's also the last game of the regular season. So if you want to see the Flyers tonight, we have two pairs of Flyers tickets for tonight's game against the Caps. We'll tell you how you can win them coming up around 9:30. All right. I asked the question going into the break. Is there a narrative in Philadelphia sports right now that you agree or disagree with? And it comes off of the attitude that I saw on social media yesterday in response to me bitching about the tiebreaker scenario for a three-way tie. The responses of the Sixers did this to themselves. Don't worry about the tiebreaker scenario. I'm sorry. Yeah, the Sixers lost a lot of games without Joel Embiid. I'm not surprised by that. They lost them for 2 months. So what is a narrative that you, John, agree or disagree with in Philadelphia sports right now?
I'll give you the two biggest narratives I hear. One of them
Agree or disagree?
One of them is regards to our industry. I disagree with both of them.
Okay.
Okay, one of them is in regards to our industry. Philly Sports Talk Radio loves it when the teams are losing.
I've said this a million times.
It is the dumbest thought that could come out of your mouth.
I 100% agree.
It is so much more fun to come to work when the teams are winning, and so much better for business when the teams are winning. So that is ridiculous, but I've heard it for two generations in this city that, the Sports Talk Radio in Philly, they love it. They love when things are bad. No, business is better, more advertising, more excitement.
Oh, it sounds like you're doing what's your business commercial that you do?
Business of sports.
But real quick, off of that.
Yes.
I will tell you, factually, a Monday after an Eagles loss, ratings are usually higher than a win.
Than after a win.
But a Tuesday after an Eagles loss,
you drop off.
Whereas after a win, it remains the same.
Here's the other
and 5 days of ratings is better than one.
Here's the other sports one. Traditional baseball stats don't apply anymore.
I agree with you.
The baseball stats, we're smarter now. We understand traditional baseball stats don't matter. We've created these new stats that are so much better because a bunch of guys who never swung a bat in their lives after T-ball, probably, or Broomall Little League, they now determine.
Matt Klenczak played in college, brother.
We're smarter than baseball people.
Matt Klenczak played in college.
It is the dumbest thing in the world. Traditional baseball stats, they don't apply. Let's stop looking at those traditional stats.
So when did the Cubs win their World Series?
2016. I thought it was 15.
16?
I believe it was 16.
All right, so in 2016, I remember Anthony Rizzo was like the leadoff hitter for that team. And that was the first time where I was like, that is not the prototypical leadoff hitter.
Not the typical one.
So Kyle Schwarber, right? Not the prototypical leadoff hitter. Rizzo, as the not prototypical leadoff hitter, also hit 32 home runs. Schwarber hits, 47 last year? Rizzo also batted .273 and had an on-base of .392. So you can have a leadoff hitter that hits a lot of home runs, but still gets singles and doubles and walks.
Connor's right, 2016.
where Schwarber's home runs, walks. He does walk a lot. I'll give him credit. But it's not like Rizzo was an automatic out. Oh, by the way, also struck out less than he did walk. Oh, no, sorry. In 2016, he struck out 108 times to 74 walks, but the following year, he walked more than he struck out. Go ahead, because you're Mr. Schwarber leadoff.
What do you want me to say?
I'm just saying, he doesn't have to bat leadoff.
Anthony Rizzo that year was better than Kyle Schwarber is. Like
by far.
But that was the beginning of seeing the not prototypical leadoff hitter.
No, I got you.
Was the Rizzo days, because Joe Madden, I freaking hate Joe Madden. But like Joe Madden ruined baseball.
The pioneering the steal, and the steal was a thing before, but like you can't say, oh, well, Ricky Henderson is the prototypical base stealer. This guy is not as good as Ricky. Like, Anthony Rizzo was an insanely good player for that team, and that's why he was able to bat in that spot. Kyle Schwarber's different. It's just, he's not an Anthony Rizzo comp.
Okay.
He's just another guy that can
hit
for pop.
I'm using that for example because that was the beginning of the traditional
that,
leadoff.
right?
Because Joe Madden, I hate Joe Madden. I know he's a local guy. I don't like you. I've never met you in my life. There's a lot of people.
Now, by the way, now that here we talk about this, I've met Joe Madden. He's one of those guys you don't want to meet then, because you'll be won over.
Because I'll probably love him.
He's a great dude.
But I know that he ruined baseball, and he was supposed to be this great manager, and then he goes to the Angels and has Ohtani and Trout, can't win.
Bro, I like everyone I haven't met.
All right,
Connor is. He's a golden retriever.
Connor, what's the trend that you agree with or disagree with, or not the trend, the narrative?
Yeah, you know what? There's a couple of these, and we've got some text on them too, so I'll just throw it out there in general. The whole they would have won if, like, you bring up the Kawhi Leonard shot, and I have a feeling, or the Alshon drop against the Saints, and you have a feeling, but to assume those result in championships isn't fair. And my gut tells me they
so
both
you're going
would've.
as far as championship.
Yes.
Because the Eagles would have won that game against the Saints. That was like the final drive.
Who knows?
Oh, wait a minute. You're taking it. They would have been inside the 20.
And they would have won.
Well, that's the thing. And this is the narrative.
See, I can't go with that.
Yeah, but that drop led to an interception. It's not like it was like a third down. They dropped it and they missed it on fourth.
I get you. But
they were moving downfield.
They were on a move, but I don't necessarily know they win that game.
Oh,
no,
I know.
don't.
I'm in a different atmosphere than you are sometimes.
Well, you definitely are there.
All right, so we'll get a couple. We'll get a couple more of these texts. Did we have a lot coming in about this?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll get some more of these texts coming up. We'll reset the entire show to start the 9 o'clock hour. But I want to know, what narrative do you agree or disagree with? And I think there's going to be more disagreeing because I think we all disagree with stuff all the time.
Yes.
What narrative do you agree or disagree with? And Conor says we have a must-read text on the Sixers. The text line's been open for, 3 weeks now? I don't think Conor has ever said must-read text.
Really?
So we will
first one.
Get this must-read text to start the 9 o'clock hour. And more reasons why the Sixers are the 7th seed, and it's not just because of Joel Embiid. Interesting thoughts. We'll get to it. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. I forgot to tease something during the break. I'll save it for like 9:15 because this is the 21-minute long segment. So I need something for John to get fired up about.
Okay.
Because we got some news yesterday that I know is going to trigger John. Do people still use the word trigger, or was that done a couple of years ago?
I think you still use it.
No.
All right. Well, it's going to trigger John.
We get warned about, I can tell you we get warned about as a professor. You get warned about there are certain words you don't use.
That you're not allowed to say.
And it's words that, like, you think, oh, my gosh, like, I use that word all the time.
Why don't you list all of them out right now live on air?
I would, but I'm embarrassed that they do.
So I want to see if John will get triggered. I know.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I know John will get triggered
just
around
say
9:15.
Say less.
Still to come on the show, Scotty Hartnell joins us at 9:30. We have 2 pairs of tickets to give away to tonight's must-win Flyers game against the Caps. So we'll tell you how you can win those coming up in a little bit. But here's what we've talked about all show today. About the Eagles offseason and whether or not you've been in favor of the offseason. They extend Devonta Smith yesterday. That was our jumping off point today. But it was also a reason to point out that it's been offense, 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 offense. You throw in Bryce Huff, who I like, but you're hoping that he can become a Haason Reddick. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who I think we all love, and he's your best safety right away. He steps on the field, he's your best safety. And then there's the question marks of a Devin White, a Zach Bond. Like, there's question marks there. But they still need a lot of work defensively. I look at this team offensively and how he has done this as a Super Bowl caliber offense. I look at the defense, nowhere close to a Super Bowl caliber defense. Now, is the offense good enough to uplift them to get back to the Super Bowl? And we know that the Eagles won a Super Bowl by making one stop.
They did.
One stop. That's all it took.
All right. Do you believe the Eagles' defense of 2024 right now has less talent or more talent than their Super Bowl winning defense?
Less.
You didn't even hesitate.
I didn't even hesitate. Because your front four was so good that you made Jalen Mills and Ronald Darby look like competent corners.
Your secondary's less.
But Malcolm Jenkins was...
I love Malcolm.
Very, very good.
He was.
Rodney McLeod, underrated. Very, very good.
Rodney McLeod, you just went very good. Good
Played
player.
very, very good that year, but a good player.
Good player. Yeah. No, good player. Yeah.
But Malcolm Jenkins, Rodney McLeod, tandem, better than Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Reed Blankenship.
Okay. I mean,
Eagles front four that year, better than Eagles front four this year. I mean, you had Fletcher Cox in his prime, Brandon Graham in his prime.
They were amazing.
Your corners, I could probably make the case that.
No, you can't.
What, this year?
The corners were terrible.
No, I'm saying this year. I can make the case that Darius Slay and James Bradbury better than Slay and Darby.
Yes.
But then linebackers a big question mark. Like, Nigel Bradham played very well for them that year.
Nigel Bradham gets talked about as if he was.
Right.
I mean, he played we're so bereft of
talent at linebacker
that we talk about Nigel Bradham, and no disrespect, he's a champion, and it was great. Mediocre player.
But he's better than Zach Cunningham, Nicholas Moreau.
No question.
So far, what we've seen out of Nakobe Dean. And talk about bereft of talent. I forgot to get to this earlier. I meant to talk about Devonta Smith and how fortunate we are to have
I'm so excited.
Both A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, because, I mean, you know the days of Nay Brown. Right?
Yes.
Todd Pinks.
I remember.
We got excited for Kevin Curtis for crying out loud. You know what I mean? Like, we have
I remember Ronnie Brown. Yeah. And I had known Ronnie at Georgia.
Is it Ronnie Brown or Reggie Brown?
Reggie Brown.
Ronnie Brown's the running back.
Ronnie Brown's running back. Reggie Brown riding his bike.
Oh, really?
And he was the big bike rider. He would ride his bike.
Oh, who's the other bike rider? Mac Hollins.
Yes,
who's actually become.
He's stuck around.
A decent player in the NFL.
Yes.
Was just horrible.
Has he had a 10-year
Eagles.
career? Now?
No, not yet, but he'll get there.
He's got to be coming up on it.
He'll get there. Because remember, he was drafted as a special teams ace and then became a decent weapon.
He is going to become – he's going to be one of those guys that has a 10, 12-year career, and you're going to go, oh, my gosh.
You're going to go, how did this guy get there?
That's like people say with us.
He's been playing since 2017, so
that's what I said.
He'll be there soon.
He's getting there, yeah.
So, yeah, I love the fact that we have Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown. But it's been offense. Are you happy with the offseason that the Eagles have had so far? You can climb in on the text line or the phone line, 610-632-0975. What you want them to do in the first round of the draft. I think they're going to go offensive line.
I do, too.
the other things from Jimmy Kempski that we haven't gotten to yet in his 10 things the Eagles could do with the first-round pick, number 4 was an edge rusher.
Which we just always assume is on the radar, right?
Number 3 was cornerback.
I absolutely believe they could do that.
And again, not specific. Like he mentions names. Like he mentioned Nate Wiggins, who I know Andrew Tcheco has said a couple of times with us. Number 2 was Define Lane Johnson's eventual replacement, which I think can be a right tackle that you draft to play guard year 1 and then eventually play right tackle. And then number 1 is actually trading up.
Kool-Aid.
I'm going to tell you right now that if they trade up, I think it's more likely they trade back than trade up.
More likely they trade back
than trade up.
So here's what he says, Jimmy Kempski in the Philly Voice. As noted above, the Eagles have 8 picks, including 2 in the second round and 3 in the 5th round. They could use those picks as ammo to move up and select a player who would otherwise be unlikely to last until pick 22, with players like Mitchell, Arnold, DeJean, who we talked about. And he does not mention Kool-Aid.
Yeah, he's burying the lead. That's smart. He doesn't want to tip anyone off to it.
And so he's helping out. The Eagles told him to not
Absolutely.
share.
He does not mention Kool-Aid.
Jimmy, don't mention this. By the way, is next week you're going to be treated to something or that you might not be treated to. I got my little I have a chart that was.
I love the chart
that was given to me by. In fact, I got it through Thomas Dimitrov, where it gets updated every year as to the game. So when somebody says, "What would it take to move from 22 to 17?"
Right.
And I can tell you from this chart, I have to get the updated one from Thomas Dimitrov to be able to go,
this is what it'll take.
This is what it'll take. Are you giving up a 4th-round pick to do that? Something along those lines.
And the other thing we just opened up, and this is in response to the responses that I got. I went on a rant yesterday about the NBA's tiebreaker procedure for a 3-way tie and how the Magic are the 5th seed and the Sixers are the 7th seed, even though the Sixers have the head-to-head record. But because it's a 3-way tie and the Pacers had the head-to-head against the Sixers, the Magic had the head-to-head to the Pacers, you go division winner first, which was the Orlando Magic. And I can't believe that the Sixers have a head-to-head record against a team with identical records and they're 2 seeds higher. And people were coming after me saying, this isn't the NBA's fault. This is the Sixers' fault. Way to side with Adam Silver, you weirdos. Like, you guys are siding with the alien.
Megamind.
Yeah, how about you side with the Sixers? Like, what is
well,
we're siding with the man?
I don't
what
understand.
Has happened here?
I don't understand in a 3-way tie.
I know.
And each one of them holds an advantage over another. This is triggering you. And I'm a little shocked by that.
It gets worse.
I can't. What gets worse?
We'll see when we get to the must-read text.
Oh, all right. So we have by the way, here's the 3-way tie.
All right.
Tiebreakers. Tiebreaker not needed. Overall winning percentage, so they were all tied, obviously. Division leader wins tie from team. So that's the one. That's why the Magic are on top. Better winning percentage in all games among the tied teams.
I think that should be ahead. I think that should be ahead of division winner.
When they don't value the division.
But honestly, I think it comes out even there also.
All right, then it would go to division 1 loss percentage. So the teams in your division. I'd rather do that, even though divisions aren't valued. Instead of just winning a division that doesn't exist.
Don't win that one.
All right, and so be it.
Okay.
But it's not the Sixers.
So the Sixers aren't winning it either way.
The Sixers got screwed because Boston's in their division.
Yeah, they did.
Think about that for a second. Like that's baloney. All right, what is this must-read text? So
come on, Conor.
The narrative that you agree or disagree with. John was against that. The new wave baseball is good.
Baseball stats don't matter any. The traditional stats don't matter. We have to go new age.
And the sports radio thing that we like it when they lose, which is nonsense. This is why I'm so upset today. Like, if I was happy that the Sixers were the 7th seed, all right, then you could call me out on that. I'm not happy that
you're not happy. Correct.
All right, what's this must-read text, Conor?
You were just talking about Adam Silver and the NBA tiebreakers and why Sixers fans should not be siding with the man. Listen to this one from Jeff from Eagleville on our conversation about, the Sixers needed 1 game. What about the impact on the foul call the refs missed in the Sixers-Clippers game on Kelly Oubre?
On our night.
We were in the building. NBA came out and said that call was missed.
Minutes later.
Yeah, but then
Oubre
Oubre
put blame on the refs, but the NBA has a broken system.
Oubre would have then had to make 2 foul shots.
He would have needed to make 1 to force overtime.
1 to force overtime. Well, then you can't assume.
Win the
but
game.
you can't assume a win if it's just to force overtime.
Well,
I don't know about 2. if I'm betting on Kelly to make 2 shots with everybody in the whole building saying win the game.
NBA players, 2 free throws are more of a certainty than you'd imagine.
Like, sort of, by the way,
He's
too.
shooting 75% from free throw line.
Yeah, I'm not counting on 2, but I would tell you, you pound 2 is that by the way, Alshon Jeffrey pointed out by numerous people on my feed, that was just to tie the game.
Yeah, and then an extra point wins it.
No,
people were pointing out they were down 20-14.
Well, they had Doug. They would have gone for 2.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's a great point. I'm pretty sure they were down 6, but I'll look it up.
I thought it was down 7, but it may be wrong.
They lost 20-14. So a touchdown would have tied it, and then Jake Elliott, Mr. Automatic,
Jake's not missing anything there. In a dome.
So you say that you don't know if you would believe Kelly Oubre would make both free throws?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
but he never had the opportunity.
No, I got it. That was
taken away from him.
We were all pissed at him.
And you're right, Connor, and to that texter, and a lot of people that did tweet that in. The NBA referees took away a potential win from the Sixers, to which they admitted it minutes later. Like, the game wasn't. I don't think we finished knockout yet.
You could have been the 5 seed.
You could have been the 5 seed. You're right, because they would have had.
But you don't want the 5 seed, though.
That's not the point.
No, that is the point.
No, because you don't want to play Boston around. But
I'm just saying, more spots and seeding difference depending on how the play-in tournament goes for an NBA team.
It was a pretty big difference. It may have worked out in the long run.
Right. I'm not saying I want the 5
Sixers,
seed.
let's say Boston gets eliminated in the second round. The Sixers are playing the Pacers or whoever
they'd be playing Miami.
They'd be playing Miami
if they were a 5 seed.
in the Eastern Conference Finals. We'd be going, oh, wow, I'm glad the refs screwed that one up. But in the meantime, right now, here and now, I'm annoyed that they have to play in a playing game because of the referees who messed up and admitted to their fault not long after the game. And, oh, by the way, if they lose tomorrow night, they are playing Boston.
And I'm going to tell
in
you,
the first round.
I would not want to be the 5 seed. I'm totally fine with playing tomorrow night because if you can't beat,
but you don't want to be the 8 seed.
If you can't beat Miami at home, everybody's healthy. No worries about Embiid. He's totally healthy. You can't beat them. 4.5-point favorites at home on your home court.
I don't know, man. Jimmy
I think you're going to be a little unfair. I am, Connor, I'm going to say this now.
Okay.
Not only do I want the Sixers to win because I want them to win. I love the Sixers. I want them to be the 7th seed and not the 8th seed. I am terrified to hear John Thursday morning if the Sixers lose to the Heat.
You should be.
Even though.
No, you should be.
That Heat team that you're saying.
Oh, here we go.
They went to the NBA Finals last year, dude.
They did. They're not this year's team.
Well, they are.
Dude,
they are.
What seed were they last year?
It doesn't.
It does matter.
They are not.
They were the 8th seed last year, and they went to the finals. They're the same team this year.
Until the pulse is gone, they are alive.
No, I think Spoelstra's the best coach in the conference, so that's a danger. And I think they got a guy in Jimmy Butler who's a very clutch guy. But please, the Miami Heat when you win a conference title, and then the next year, you're an 8 seed?
They were an 8 seed
last year.
No. That's the exact same thing,
and that is the exception. You're taking an exception and making it like that's the rule.
And
it's not.
What are you talking about?
You're taking it as they were the 8 seed last year. That is lightning in a bottle. That is lightning in a freaking bottle.
We have found out that seedings don't necessarily matter. The Lakers were in the Western Conference Finals last year as an 8 seed.
They were they made it to the finals of the Western Conference. They did correct, and they did.
The Western Conference Finals is better than what the Sixers have done the last 23 years.
You guys just bring up those 2 examples. You are talking about something that happens less than 10% of the time. I'm going to guess, less than 5% of the time.
We don't have
You're just using 2 recent examples to go, see?
And you don't have enough sample size to prove us wrong.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
8 seeds making it to the NBA Finals?
In recent years, it's
harder.
LeBron James, when he was with the Cavs, wasn't even a 1 seed. He would be a 4 seed.
Fine. No, Eastern
The Raptors
Conference
would be the 1 seed and then lose.
I'm not talking about 3 and 4 seeds. I'm talking about 8 seeds.
Yeah, but it's changing even more. There's teams that just don't value the regular season anymore.
No, I think what happened
The Lakers don't value the regular season.
I think what happened is the Phillies and the Diamondbacks being like the 6th seed. That would be like saying, well, you want to be the 6th seed now.
No, but I don't say that.
No. It's a short, small sample size, and you're going, hey, this is what it is.
I want them to win the division.
We're saying they can do it because they literally did it last year. Well, you're treating it like they can't.
No, I'm not treating it like they can. In fact, I think they absolutely, but they're playing Boston in the first round. I do not think they can. I do not think they can. And Boston will not lose a first-round series.
That's fair. The argument, the ethos of the argument is Miami is a dangerous playoff
Miami's
team.
a dangerous team.
Okay.
And the Sixers
We're already setting up. We're already setting up tomorrow night. I got it.
No, dude, I think the Sixers win. I'm just saying. I wouldn't be shocked if Jimmy Butler, who went to the NBA Finals last year, putting this team on his back, he basically did an Allen Iverson run last year with Max Strus. He had Max Strus.
I'm saying, should the Sixers win tomorrow night?
Yes, they should.
Okay, but that's all we need. We're all in agreement. The Sixers should win tomorrow night.
Yes.
No disclaimers, no nothing.
All right.
They're 4.5-point favorites. They should win.
I've got Heat plus 4.5.
Oh, jeez.
All right. Now that I'm going to let you cool off for 1 second. And then I'm going to rally you back up. But let's go to Bernard in Northeast. What's up, Bernard? How you doing, man?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks.
Good, Bernard.
Thanks for calling, dude.
Yes. How are you?
Good.
Great.
Yeah, I just want to. No one's talking about the Sixers were 16-27. We all know that, but Maxey missed 11 of those games, and they went 1-10.
Yes, he did. Yes, they did.
So I don't understand because a lot of people, even Philly fans, has used that against Maxey. Trust me, you guys know they win 3 more games, and they're the number 2 seed. Even if Maxey plays those games.
Wait a minute, who's using it against Maxey?
No, I don't think anybody's using it against
Everyone loves
Maxey
here.
But I think maybe, Bernard, are you talking about the narrative that's on social media that the Sixers did this to themselves?
Yeah, but that Maxey is not good enough. I don't care he's not a number 1. He's good enough to win 3 more games if he plays those 11 games.
Yes, he is.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't understand. Like, I don't care, Maxey. People keep saying he shouldn't be a number 1. It's just, it's unfortunate for us. You know what I'm saying? That he missed 11 games while Embiid was out.
Yeah, if he was fully healthy, you're right. They might be the 2 seed. It's amazing.
No, I think they would have been the 2 seed.
If Maxey doesn't miss 11 games.
I think if Embiid was healthy all year, they would have been the 2 seed.
That's a lot.
They only needed 4 wins to be the 2 seed. And Embiid missed 9 weeks. So absolutely they would have been.
Thanks for the call,
Thank
Bernard.
you,
we appreciate it, man. He was pointing out the fact that Maxey missed 11 games during Embiid's
No, he did.
absence.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's huge.
All right.
All right, here we go.
Buckle up.
Did you cool off?
Yes. Go on.
I want to read the tweet word for word. This might carry into the next segment, Connor. All right, from Shams Charania. Yesterday around 7:06 p.m., Johnny. Sources. Team USA is finalizing 11 of its 12-man Olympic roster. LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, Devin Booker, Drew Holiday, Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards, Bam Adebayo, Tyrese Halliburton, and Joel Embiid.
So, let me get this straight. So, Joel Embiid needs load management during the regular season for the team that pays him, what, $40 million a year? I'm trying to guess the number. I don't even know the
around
current
there.
number.
Yeah, probably 45.
It's like $45 million a year.
Yeah.
So, he needs load management. He needs nights off. He needs less playing because we're worried about him being injured to be able to fulfill his contract to the Sixers and help them win. So, now you're telling me, instead of resting in the offseason, rehabbing in the offseason, getting ready for it, he's going to be playing in the Olympics.
Could be, depending on
is he?
Depending on what he decides. They finalized the roster,
but he's on the roster.
He might. They probably have alternates, so he may be able to say, "I don't think I should do this."
Didn't he want to play for? Wasn't he like marketing himself around other countries too? To try to play for?
Well, no, he's got citizenship.
I understand,
in the
but
States,
he was like
France.
Yeah, but he was trying to play for Team France too, right?
Yeah. Well,
and stuff like that.
Yeah, he made his
hedging
choice.
his bets.
He made his choice to go Team USA.
Oh, I thought he was hedging his bets. Is how it was being portrayed. That if he didn't get chosen for the one,
he was going to make either
options.
He's the best basketball player on planet Earth.
He was going to make either roster.
So well, the thing is, I think it's going to be very good of Joel when he says, you know what, I play a full 82-game schedule. I have to worry about the Sixers first because everything's about winning an NBA championship. And I'm going to take this summer to where I missed a ton of time this year to rest, rehab, and be at my best for the next 6 seasons.
Well, what if he doesn't say that? What if he says,
oh, no, he's going to say that.
I want to win for Team USA.
No, he's going to say that. Enough of this nonsense. He's going to say that. He's going to do the right thing. He's going to do the right thing.
Are you sure? What if he wants to win gold?
Please.
Aren't you Team USA before Team Philadelphia, John?
No.
Or
I'm not.
is it because Philadelphia is the birthplace of this country?
No, I am not. I am Team Sixers and that contract. And by the way, if he needs load management during the regular season, then his offseason must be about rest.
I'm going to say this real quick to make it clear, I don't want him to play on the Olympic roster.
He shouldn't.
I don't.
He shouldn't be.
I just can't wait for the day when we find out that he is playing.
No.
And getting your reaction. You know how sometimes in the summer, those are the tough times in sports radio? That's going to be a must-listen-to show the day Joel Embiid says, yes, I'm playing for Team USA.
As long as he only plays in the quarterfinal game and then takes the semifinal game off for load management, because he needs to not maybe get injured.
You are not going to be okay that day.
I'm not going to be okay.
Because you know it's coming. I'm telling you right now, he's going to play.
No, he's not. He's going to be smart.
All right,
Come on, Joel, you're smart.
Coming up next, Scotty Hartnell will join the show. I'm going to tell you right now, 2 pairs of Flyers tickets for tonight's must-win game. We're going to give away a pair before and after Scott. All right? So make sure you're listening closely. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Sports Update.
know about the Fanatic Deal of the Week. Splashing of fun with the Fanatics Deal of the Week this week only. Get 2 general admission tickets for Big Kahuna's Water Park in West Berlin, New Jersey. You'll find Johnny the K there for just $35. That's 2 tickets for the price of 1. Get this exclusive offer while supplies last at 975thefanatic.com. Now, speaking of tickets, listen, man, it's do or die tonight, and you also kind of need other things to happen, but it's do or die tonight for the Flyers. They need to take care of business first. It's Flyers Caps at the Wells Fargo Center, and we want to send you there. We have 2 pairs of tickets. We're going to give our first pair away. So be gone if you're listening. First pair now on the contest line, 215-263-0975. Let's go caller number 5 to the contest line, 215-263-0975, and you will win a pair of tickets for the Flyers-Capitals game tonight in a game that they must win, and it's also the last regular season game at the Wells Fargo Center. Hopefully not the last game at the Wells Fargo Center.
That would be our hope, yes.
That would be the absolute hope. So call number 5 right now on the contest line. We'll give out a second pair after we speak to our next guest on the Comcast Business Hotline from NBC Sports Philadelphia. Scotty Hartnell joins us. Scott, good morning. How you doing?
Am I caller number 5?
No, you are not. You have a pass.
I think you got a plug to get into that arena if you wanted to.
Damn it. I thought I was a lucky winner.
Plus, you're easily recognizable.
Yeah, I think we can find a way to get you in. Scott, listen, man, it's an incredible night tonight. Now, obviously, we need some things to happen for the Flyers to still get in, but first things first, they just got to get a W tonight.
Yeah, you got to take care of your own business. You got to focus. Got to be on your next shift, on that. The start of the hockey game. You got to be able to take care of business yourself in regulation, mind you, and then halfway through the game, you might peek up at the out of town scoreboard. But it is what it is. The Flyers had a tough couple weeks prior to the last 2 wins to put themselves in this position. But hey, you're still playing, you're still fighting, and you need some extra help big time.
What's that like for a player? So you say sometimes you look at the out-of-town scoreboard. Are you talking from the fans' perspective and the media's perspective, or a player's perspective, knowing what else has to happen?
Well, you're going to look at it. I remember in 2010 when we came back from 3-0 against Boston, and halfway through that game, we were down 3-0 in Game 7 in Boston, and then it was 3-3. And I rember, just like it was yesterday, looking up at there was another Game 7. It was Montreal versus Pittsburgh, and we always had trouble with Pittsburgh those first few years that I was signed as a Flyer. And then next thing you know, I'm like, it's like 5-3 Montreal. I'm like, boy, if we win this game, we almost have a tap-in right to the finals. Because we always beat Montreal, right? So you got a little extra energy boost there, right? So, I'm sure guys will be looking, but they got to take care of what business on the ice first, but it's almost human nature. You have to look up.
Scott, last week, while we were hearing a cavalcade of this team's quit on John Tortorella, that I was saying the one thing I know about an NHL team, ones that lead the NHL in block shots, ones that overachieve way over their head all season long. I think the last thing they did is quit on him. What do you think from somebody who observes it much more closely?
No, I had Torts in Columbus too for a couple of years.
Sure,
and he's hard, and then you got to have thick skin to play for him. It hasn't been ideal for a couple of the veterans like Sean Couturier getting scratched after being named captain, and for everyone really, you got to take care of your business, and that's the last thing these guys have done. Talking to guys after some practices and whatnot, they're still fighting. It was just kind of one of those 2 weeks there where it was just. It's kind of hard to explain. Everything goes through funks, right? It wasn't. They lost twice this year, 5-game losing streaks. One at the beginning of the year, and then one right before All-Star break, I believe. So, it's just tricky. You look at games where the team scored last minute and goes into overtime, you lose in overtime. So you think about those points as well. But I know Torts has that team. He has their attention, and they're going to fight tonight for him for sure.
Could there have been any other kind of trickle-down effect, these scratching of Sean Couturier, and not from a team quit on John Tortorella side of things? How do you think that locker room handled the Couturier scratching?
it's head scratching, right? I'm sure for you guys as well. And we talk on TV about it, and amongst ourselves as well. And the biggest question for me was why? Why play him 20 minutes a night for the first 45, 50 games, and then take him down to 10, 12 minutes, and then take him out of the lineup, right? So it was kind of a head scratcher for us. And I think he's there's always a method to Torts' madness, if you will. So it's he's playing the head games. He's trying to get guys' attention. Same thing with Cam Atkinson as well. He's been a few times throughout this season, and he's always come back with some stronger games. So he says it's one of the only things that he has as a coach to really get guys' attention, right? Because you're not playing, and hockey players are real proud people, right? You want to play almost every game. So I think the guys handled it well, and I think the last couple of games, especially, Kuchin's got more of a role. Even it is a little bit more defensively. He's out there penalty killing. He's out there at the end of the game, holding on to a 1-0 lead against the Devils on Saturday. So, I know he's fired up about playing a little bit more as well.
Scott, if I asked you from night one, it's opening night, and where we were expecting this team, starting out a rebuild, and where they've ended up, what is the thing that you've seen this year over 81 games that absolutely you did not expect in October?
Well, I didn't think their penalty kill would be this good, and I sure didn't see their power play be this bad.
That's the truth.
But I think Torts has an effect on the team, whether it be 2, 3, 4 years. He's one of those coaches that is not going to be on the same team for 10 years, right? Because the message might get stale a little bit, right? But he gets those guys fired up. He gets those guys, kind of coming together, the camaraderie in that room. And you could tell, like, everyone was here 2 or 3 weeks before training camp, basically having a mini training camp before Torts' almost impossible training camp to get through, right? So they were in such great shape. They were, going through it together, which, I've survived a couple of those training camps, and it's almost impossible. But, he kind of drags you down, bears you. You're so tired, and then, it really gives you that extra conditioning, in that first half of the season, and you kind of maintain that. So it's I'm just proud of how they came and how they're in this position, right? We thought, everyone thought that they'd be right at the bottom of the league just to trash the league, but they showed a lot of fight, which I'm very, very proud of.
Speaking of Scott Hartnell on the Comcast Business Hotline, Scott, as seasons go on, expectations may change, may go up, may go down. What would you say to somebody, myself included, that's very upset about the 8-game losing streak that may be the reason why you ultimately don't make the playoffs? Now, going into the season, nobody expected a playoff push for the Flyers, but they were close come March, and then the 8-game losing streak obviously kind of knocks them out of it, even though there's still a chance tonight. Should we still be happy with how the season played out, or is it fair to be upset when they are in a playoff seeding before an 8-game losing streak?
Yeah, well, I think they're disappointed. You ask these guys, to have an honest answer to that same question. I was disappointed talking about it on TV. I'm trying to, pump these guys up and try and spin it in a positive way. But it was sad, right? I think everyone was a little ticked off. Something happened, and snap of the fingers, if you will, and they played 2 of their best games all year long against the Rangers and Devils, and you need one more tonight. So. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth, 100%. But I think if you kind of step back, subjectively and look at the season as a whole, it was a fun year. Winning games, winning streaks, and a lot of ups and downs along the road. Carter Hart and all that stuff. But it is what it is, and I think it's a promising in the direction that they're going, 100%.
Is there any doubt in your mind if Carter Hart doesn't leave this team that they would be a playoff team?
100%. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that just, as the 8-game losing streak and all these other talking points get made, that is bottom line. They lost one of their most critical parts, and it was completely, not unexpected, but completely a blindsider to what they were.
Yeah, he's a special goaltender, right? And, he's in a little bit of a pickle, so a lot of trouble that he's in right now, but hopefully he can come on the other side a better person and get back in the league again. That's all I can say. But if you have him stopping those pucks and that veteran presence, right? You put a lot on Sam Ersson, and man, he's performed out of the last 35 games that he's played unreal in 30 of them, right? So you can't really knock him, even though there was some bad games. But he's got to look at his season as a whole too. When you step back after the year and be like, man, I played pretty good. I can be a number one goalie in this league. And I know management and Torts and Kim Dillabaugh, they're all saying the same thing. And real proud of how everyone plays, especially the goalies.
Scott, thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate it. Enjoy yourself tonight. Let's root Montreal. Let's root Philadelphia. And then I think it's pretty easy tomorrow to root against Pittsburgh if the Flyers are able to handle their business tonight.
Yeah, you're not a Flyers fan if you're cheering for Pittsburgh. No way.
Yeah, absolutely. Scott, thanks, man. We appreciate it.
That was
Thanks, guys. Yeah.
There he is, Scott Hartnell on the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business, a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next.
I'm blown away. The game 82 means something.
82 means something.
I would have been willing to bet almost anything I own.
Well,
that game 82 would have meant nothing.
Well, let's send another pair of people.
Let's do it.
To the Flyers game tonight. Call the contest line, 215-263-0975. I gave call number 5. Johnny, what caller?
7.
So not 88? You don't want B Gun to go through 88 people?
No, I'll do it in honor of the legendary Bill Barber.
Love that.
Who still looks like he's like 50 years old.
Caller number 7 to the contest line, 215-263-0975. You will win a pair of tickets to tonight's Flyers game. Must win. Hopefully
in
Detroit
regulation.
Lose. In regulation, yeah.
I can see it. 2-2 in the third period. And Torts has to pull the goalie.
You know what would be nice? How about we don't see that? How about we win?
No, let's not do that.
Let's
yes,
see
you're right.
6-0 win.
There we go.
Sometimes stress-free sports is nice, too.
I'd like that, too.
I like stress-free sports sometimes. Okay, coming your way next, Kincade and Salciunas, Key 3, the 3 best minutes from today's show. We'll also do our crossover with one Bob Cooney as he's coming your way for the midday show coming up at 10 o'clock. Kincade and Salciunas right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Next up for the 76ers.
You on YouTube.
Play-in game is
Talking to me. What are you yelling at the YouTube audience?
Well, because they're always talking crap about us, so I might as well yell back at them.
But you know what they are? They're very loyal. They're very, very loyal.
They're all so sweet.
They are so sweet. And they all listen every single day, and they watch on YouTube, which is a blessing to us.
And we love you, and we thank you for watching us every single morning. And
Most days we love them.
Yeah.
Some days we like you.
Yeah, but not all days they love us or even like us.
No, it depends.
So the feeling's mutual. But thanks for watching. We appreciate it.
Stay with us.
As good as Tyrese Maxey is, he can't carry an offense. Not from his position. Not when other teams can so easily stop either him, not easily stop him, but if you design to double team him, or if you design to take the ball out of his hands, other guys have to be there. And once again, last night, you just didn't have it. Tobias Harris was the only other double-digit scorer from the starters. 2 guys, I think it was Council and somebody else, Wilson, off the bench. That got you double figures. So Nick Nurse went to the bench really early. You could see it was just kind of, I'm trying, but you guys just don't have it.
So we're all expecting Howie Roseman to make another move.
But there are players you have to extend, number one. You got to account for the draft and the practice squad. How far into the cap are they? I don't know the number off my head. How far into the cap are they?
I think it's high 20s or low 30s.
Yes.
Left.
Again, there are going to be guys that you're going to want to extend. Devonta Smith is going to have to get a deal to pay your draft class, pay the squad, keep money for moves. You know, we're going to be talking later this summer, the end of the summer, before the final cut down. You're going to want them to trade for somebody or do something at that point in time. Again, yeah, they have some money. Probably not as much as you think right now. And am I expecting another big move? I think on the one hand, they're always looking. But I think if you're looking for that high profile, there are no more of them available. Like that market's kind of shrunk up. Who do you want them to go add right now?
Well,
it's not.
I do not want them to add Justin Simmons. If I'm hearing that they didn't want to pay Haason Reddick, I sure as hell don't want to bring in another guy going in his early 30s and then pay him big money to come in.
Well, and based on what they've done, I don't think they would.
Okay, good. That makes me feel better then.
Yeah, I don't think they would, based on the logic with Haason Reddick. You know, if Justin Simmons came in at a number of price, would they do that? Maybe. Yeah. Like, I'm making this up. What if it's a 1-year deal worth, I don't know, some friendly number?
I'd do that? Oh, I absolutely would consider it. But the thing is, I wonder was a 1-year offer at a nice number considered to extend Haason Reddick? Every deal I'm going to look at and say, could that deal have been done to keep Haason Reddick here?
But Reddick wanted a new deal. He wanted a new deal last season.
Yes.
Right?
He did. You let the other guy wet his pants because he had 2 terrible
Can you
goals.
go wet his pants? We were literally just talking about how he should have not played. No, they were terrible.
No, they were terrible. That is wetting your pants. As a goaltender, he let in 2 goals that the average NHL goaltender does not let in. Those 2 goals were terrible.
They were horrible.
They were.
The guys were playing pretty much all season long out of necessity.
And I said that. There's a lot of it.
Okay,
He's been
a big reason. They lost their
goal.
Salciunas. I hope you all are having a wonderful Tuesday morning. Thanks to Scott Hartnell and also Jeff McLane. Jeff joined us in the 7 o'clock hour. Scotty Hartnell was just on with us. You can hear those again on 97.5thefanatic.com.
What do you think Jeff's dog's name is?
I don't know.
That dog was making an appearance this morning.
It was.
I'm trying to think of what Jeff McLane would name his dog.
Jeff is Dev. I'm going to guess that Jeff is a human dog name.
I was thinking that too.
Yes, I am too. It's a human dog. We're going to guess it. Yeah, but we'll try to guess it before the end of the show.
Yeah. Or we'll ask. I could text them. Hey, Jeff,
like,
what's your
what
dog's
is your dog's name?
We want to add the dog in the podcast, right? When we tell you, hear Jeff McLane at 7:30, you'll also hear Jeff's dog.
Andy.
Yeah, maybe Andy.
Bruce.
Bruce. It sounds like a smaller dog. You can't name a small dog
No,
Bruce.
you can't do Nicky Foles?
Brucey.
You can't, Brucey.
I don't know.
All right, we got our crossover with Bob Cooney coming up in a few minutes, but first, it's time now for the Kincade Salciunas Key 3.
Now, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. Today's best.
Let me make this clear. Congratulations to Devonta Smith.
We're both excited for this. Yeah,
thrilled because last year you had arguably the best wide receiver duo in the NFL. It fell apart. The whole team fell apart. I stand by it. They are still one of, if not the best wide receiver duos in the NFL. So I'm thrilled. And offense is the way to go. I totally understand that. But in that open, you hear about the championship window. You need to have some defensive talent for you to win a Super Bowl. And not having Haason Reddick, even though I understand that he wanted more money, it once again reminds me, moving on from him, I can't believe I'm starting this show off with this. It pisses me off because your offense is so good, and I don't know about your defense still.
Here's the strange is that I hear the same story, and I hear something different. And one of the things I look at it is every time Landon Dickerson, and then you're locking down Jordan Mailata, and then you're not locking down Devonta Smith. To me, I'm taking my Window Nation window of opportunity, and I'm opening it further. I think the Eagles championship window got bigger yesterday.
From NBC Sports Philadelphia, Scotty Hartnell joins us. Scott, listen, man, it's an incredible night tonight. Now, obviously, we need some things to happen for the Flyers to still get in, but first things first, they just got to get a W tonight.
Yeah, you got to take care of your own business. You know, you got to focus. You got to be on your next shift, on that, you know, the start of the hockey game. You got to be able to take care of business yourself in regulation, mind you, and then halfway through the game, you might peek up at the out of town to the scoreboard. But you know, it is what it is. Flyers had a tough couple weeks prior to the last 2 wins to put themselves in this position. But hey, you're still playing, you're still fighting, and you know you need some extra help big time.
You texted us, and I quote, "The Phillies are so frustrating." End quote. John, it is just perfectly worded about this team through 17 games. Now that doesn't mean you say Phillies stink, they're not winning anything this year. The Phillies are so frustrating. I think even Conor Thomas, Mr. Everything's good, I think even you can agree with that sentence.
Sometimes, yeah.
What do you mean sometimes?
Dude, the base running mishaps.
It's embarrassing.
Exactly. The lack of hits against a horrible starting pitcher.
Yes.
The lack of run support for both Zach Wheeler and Aaron
Wait a
Nola.
minute. Bailey Falter shut them down
beat you.
and made them look embarrassing. This is a trend. This isn't a one-off like last night was the oddball.
Right.
So ridiculous.
So, Connor, you love baseball.
Right.
Have you thoroughly enjoyed the 17 games the Phillies have played this year?
No.
So you can agree. And again, this is 2 days in a row where I am agreeing with John Kincade.
Yeah, put that down in
The
ink.
world has stopped spinning. I agree with John. The Phillies are so frustrated.
They're a dumb baseball team.
From the Inquirer, Inquirer.com, the great Jeff McLane joins us. Jeff, we're closer to the NFL draft. This Thursday will mean 1 week from the NFL draft. You and I and John, we talked about this last week. There's a lot more to the draft nowadays than just selecting players, so I'm not going to ask you if you're excited for the NFL draft, but would love to hear some of the stuff that you're hearing so far. A lot of our conversation today is what the Eagles could do with that first-round pick, and there's a million things they could do, and it's not just drafting a player.
He's done a very good job over the last several years of just like not making it obvious that he has to do something. To me, I'd say the one, again, I go back to cornerback, that's the one area that I feel like there's a glaring hole that's still there at the James Bradbury spot. I'm not buying him being the starting cornerback. So that being said, they still have 10 days here until the draft, so I could possibly see something being done to cover them in that regard. That way they're not forced to, not only are they not revealing their cards, showing their hand, but they're also not forcing themselves into, reaching for a guy at a certain position because they need that.
That is the Kincade and Salciunas Key 3, the 3 best minutes from today's show that included me and John back and forth about things. Scott Hartnell talking Flyers and Jeff McLane's dog in the background.
Well, we're dog people.
We are dog
so
people.
we love
it. Yeah, this is a show that loves dogs, and I also know that Bob Cooney loves dogs. Good morning, Bobby.
I love dogs. I love you guys. I love everything. Good morning, boys.
It's good to have you in. Let's get this right off the bat. You have a special guest early on in the show and a special co-host.
Yeah, Amy Fadul's joining us.
Who had first billing on Friday.
Oh, I know. I never. Yeah.
You didn't even
Amy
mention
Fadul with Bob Cooney.
You should have heard the promos. It's great.
Yeah. So,
which I respect.
Oh, absolutely. Amy's going to be with us all 4 hours, but Daryl Morey's going to be joining us, calling us at 10:05.
10:05.
So we'll get him. We'll have reaction to him all day long. We're working on somebody Flyers. I don't want to say who it is, but we're hoping that gets pulled off. Also, 1:30 around, Devonta Smith's supposed to have a press conference, so if that starts on time-ish,
good luck.
We'll also carry that.
Good luck.
So, I know,
As the man who used to do the midday show, 1:30 means 7 o'clock tomorrow.
You know, I don't even anticipate those things. Like get hyped up or, you pumped to have, no, because I don't. No. I was pumped to have Kelly Oubre the other day.
Right.
And he had something come up at the last minute. He felt bad.
The worst part, nobody's going to cry tears for us. But the worst part is you're doing a segment, and you're waiting for the press conference.
And you have to stroll.
And you have to keep talking. And you're like, all right, I'm running out of things to talk about here.
And then you might get into something good, and it's like, all right, shut up. Here it is.
Yeah,
it's
here
like,
comes the press
conference.
Yeah, don't cry for us.
Yeah,
Argentina.
so one of those days. But, all good today. Can't wait. Hang out with Amy all 4 hours.
Can't wait to see with Daryl Morey's plan come together.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
He made plans assuming Embiid would be back. So we're going to see how it all comes together. I'm excited.
Could be the best team he's had this year.
And Nick Nurse, I'm excited to see that.
Connor just gets in my ear. So I said, don't cry.
Connor's on my list, so don't even bring his name up to me.
I said, don't cry for me, Argentina. All right.
Don't tell me he doesn't know that.
He says, was that Lady Gaga?
That was Alejandro or whatever, isn't it? There's another song.
Don't. It's all right, Connor.
It's from Evita. It's from Evita.
It's okay.
He's out.
What?
I don't know who it is.
Evita musical.
With your new hours, were you able to enjoy the nice weather yesterday?
I was outside for a lot yesterday. Anticipate being outside a lot today. John will tell you, I love being outside. When
Bobby yard work.
Yeah, got the new fence coming in a week from Friday, so I'm pumped about that. So I got to get everything ready.
I appreciate
that.
Good
job,
Here we go.
Bob.
All right, Bobby.
All right, boys.
We appreciate it.
Take care.
You keep Ray Dunn in line over there, okay?
I'm glad to see he's wearing Temple stuff today.
He is, man. He's wearing the
Welcome
Temple
back,
gear.
Ray, to the community not rooting for Iowa. Hey, support life-saving cancer research. Join us and our generous partner, David Auto Group. Thanks, David Kelleher. Make a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research. You can do it today at 975thefanatic.com/AACR because cancer research saves lives.
By the way, speaking of, so he wore a Caitlin Clark sweatshirt yesterday, right? Did you see how quick her jersey sales? She made the most jersey sales in X amount of time. I don't know what the time limit was after she got drafted last night. She beat Trevor Lawrence. Lawrence was the previous most jersey sales in X amount of time when he got drafted in 2001 from Fanatics.
Right.
So you just might not see them for about 3 years.
That's terrible.
How those baseball jerseys go. By the way,
can we stop talking about the WNBA now?
I love Bryce Harper for wearing last year's jersey the other day.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
You know.
Come on, Bryce.
I get it. Michael Rubin. I get
Let's
it. That's
go.
a lot of money.
Come on.
All right, everybody have a great rest of your day. We're back at it tomorrow. Tomorrow, hopefully, we're talking about a Flyers chance to still make the playoffs.
It's Sixers game day. Adam Schefter
Sixers
and
game
more.
day. Yep, so much coming your